Welcome back to the 2016 One Nation of Gamers Circuit Feature number 5. It's Sunday, and that means we're crowning a champion today and figuring out who our 8th and final player to secure themselves a PAX Prime final slot will be. I am Nathan, that's Admiral Zamora, joined by the Tannen Grace. Tannen, we've had 2 hard-fought days of Hearthstone for these guys, and for some of them, it's been 3 hard-fought days of Hearthstone.
Yeah.
What's been your take on this this weekend so far, and who's your call to win today out of these 4 players?
Well, my take on this weekend so far, and all the weeks leading up to it, is this is the culmination of all the hard work that you put in over the Open Series for what feels like only a few weeks, but it's actually just been months of grinding for these guys. And only one person's going to go home happy today because they know they get to play at PAX Prime. They're going to be the 8th player there playing for a lot of money. Not just the money today, but a lot of money there as well. And as for a winner today, man, I want to go with one of the guys that's a little less known. And I just like his battle tag. And it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight there. I'm going to go with Battle Frog.
Battle Frog was looking good. Actually had to win an extra match to find himself in the feature. He was tied for points and took down that series and showed a lot of emotion during that series as well, which was something that was pretty surprising to me, all things considered. But he's here now. He's here to battle. And if you're taking Battle Frog on this one, I don't know. It's kind of a tough call for me. Honestly, I think I like to go with Yo It's Flow in this one. Just kind of familiar with his style and knowing that he's practicing with Muzzy and Chalky and Nostum. To me, those are some of the best guys in North America, and I think that's going to be giving him quite a significant edge. Honestly, just he's brought the strong decks, he's got the strong builds, and he understands them really well. But looking at the lineup here, that rogue could be a soft spot. Before we get into that, we do want to talk about a little bit about what the whole circuit has been so far. So in 2016, the GEICO Hearthstone circuit has consisted of 10 open tournaments that had a $1,000 prize pool each. Those open tournaments led into the 5 feature tournaments that were taking place that had a $6,000 prize pool each. This is the 5th and final one of those. You could also get into the features by having enough GEICO points accumulated from playing and finishing consistently in opens to get there. The feature tournaments lead into that PAX Prime final with a $25,000 prize pool. And over the course of the entire circuit, the 2 players who had the most points advanced to that PAX Prime final as well. So right now, the pool that we have for PAX Prime is Eversiction, Shoop, Dog, Frozen, Dakota, and then Chalky and Phone Tap were the points winners for this one. So a pretty significant lineup that we've had thus far. But I really feel like that the absolute big story is Phone Tap in this one, who's just been so consistent in the One Nation of Gamers circuit. It's kind of unbelievable to see him here at this spot, kind of yet again, to be putting up the race there. It's really been an incredible string of finishes for him. But yeah, now we're at the last one here. Taking a look at the lineups, the earlier stages were group stage, GSL style group stages, so 2 players advanced from each side of the bracket. And our top 4 today is Battle Frog, Yo It's Flow, VX14, and Dart. So now it's single elimination, and we moved on from best of 5 to best of 7. So a 5th deck has been opened up for these players, and now it's the best of 7 single elimination spot with the band still. Battle Frog's had his Warrior band out, Yo It's Flow's had his Warrior band out, and it's Druid, Mage, Shaman, and Warlock versus Druid, Rogue, Shaman, and Warlock on the other side. Now we know that Yo It's Flow is playing a mid-range Shaman, and I'm curious how much that's really going to play into effect here, because we saw him do a lot of work with it yesterday. And outside of that Mage matchup, which I'm a little bit concerned with, it feels like it's got a good matchup versus Battle Frog's lineup.
Yeah, I can definitely agree there. That's one of those decks, it kind of catches people by surprise, right? Every time you play against Shaman, you're just thinking aggro Shaman, and you mulligan for that deck, and you conserve your light total as much as possible in the early game, and then all of a sudden they play one of their mid-range threats. They fire Elemental you, or one of their other bigger threats, and you're like, oh no, I got this matchup a little wrong. And if you misappropriated a resource at some point in time in one of your turns, you're probably going to lose because of that. And so that can lead to some really hard decisions early in the game if you're unaware that's what you're playing against.
Yeah, I could totally agree with that. The fact that Battle Frog knows that it's mid-range Shaman too, he can kind of mold those mulligans to make sure that he can fight those battles. We saw Freeze Mage yesterday in Villain's lineup, and Villain did not have the best performance with it. To say the least. It looked like he was playing it really well, but just some very, very minor circumstances really looked like it changed the overall outcome of what the game ended up looking like. And it's such a big deal to take note of because it's such a hard deck to play. The matchups have to be picture perfect. You have to play picture perfect. But when that happens, Freeze Mage looks incredibly strong, and that's kind of where I'm looking at Battle Frog's lineup and maybe being a little bit concerned. Is the other matchups, they're pretty even across the board, but if that Freeze Mage is played well and it draws well, it can give the Rogue, the Druid, and the Shaman a hard time, and that's exactly the situation I think that Yote's Flow does not want to be in.
Yeah, you definitely want to avoid that. I mean, that's something if your opponent is really good at Freeze Mage and they draw well in the game, it feels like it's unwinnable in a lot of situations because they're not going to make a mistake and they're going to have all the resources that they need to get the game done. But there's no Freeze Mage here in the first game. It looks like a couple of aggro decks.
Yeah, it's going to be Zoo, Warlock for Yote's Flow, and the Shaman for Battle Frog. And again, Battle Frog was showing a lot of emotion in the games that he played, and today's the big day. Like now everything's got to be kept in check.
Exactly. I like that you mentioned that because that's something we've seen a lot over about the last week or two. Even the guys that were trying to get the last spot into this tournament, into the feature, to get a chance at PAX Prime. And I like seeing emotion from players. I like seeing people, excited about winning in Hearthstone. But you can't blame these guys. I mean, they're playing in such a big event, and this stuff is more than just the game they're playing right now. They're playing for those spots later on. So I'm not surprised seeing the emotion at all.
Yeah, does need to keep it in check today. Does go with the instantaneous turn 2 Totem Golem. No thought for that Abusive Sergeant, given that the Possessed Villager was on board. Which, honestly, I think I might have liked to see still on that Abusive Sergeant. I mean, it's a very clean trade. Now, granted, the Totem Golem's massive. And that Argent Squire doesn't get traded off here, which I think it's pretty likely to do. That Abusive Sergeant may be stuck in hand for a little bit. We'll find out what's going on here soon. First Discover, pretty darn weak.
Yeah, Yote's Flow is going to take his time. Lowly Squire, not the best, not the worst. Definitely seen worse Discovers in my day, but you're going to tap a few times in this matchup. This isn't one of the ones where you get to kind of just have free reign and tap all you want, but you'll get a few extra power on the minion if it stays around for a little bit. And about Battle Frog's sequencing, yeah, I can kind of get behind what you were saying about maybe thinking about playing the Abusive Sergeant. You kind of just put Totem into play immediately. Definitely think it warrants a thought, but maybe he's just thinking, this is the way I win this game, and get the Totem Golem into play as soon as possible because it's such a big, impactful minion in this matchup. And you can see he's like, oh, you have the Abusive Sergeant there. I'm probably not winning from this spot ever.
Yeah, I mean, this is the spot where you can kind of see things go downhill. I mean, Shaman needs that early board control, and it needs it really hard in the aggro matchup. You spend the first couple of turns really fighting for that position, then you make your big push afterwards. But Battle Frog's already fallen into a pretty uncomfortable spot, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. And, good for him that there's no overload cards in his hand here because, if he had something like a card, Feral Spirits here, it would be a card he'd play. It would be pretty decent on this board, but I think it's pretty important that he has all 5 mana next turn because I think one of the ways that he actually gets into this game is top decking a Doomhammer here.
Yeah, Doomhammer certainly is one of those cards that can always bring the game back. We've seen a lot of Shamans use Doomhammer to clean up the board for quite a few turns, and it gives him just enough time to buy a little bit of extra damage with some of the minions and then make for those big pushes afterwards.
Yeah, this is a pretty nice setup for next turn, too, if any of his minions live, which you got to believe they're not going to, but he could Totem or Flanktum Totem and follow it up with a thing from below. Now, he still has that option here, but you're not making inroads on the board if you make that play, so... Ooh, Feral Spirit off the top. That's kind of a welcome card here.
Yeah, Feral Spirit usually looking pretty darn good in this matchup. That Flame Tongue Totem going to hope to fend off some of this board pressure, but honestly, that Lowly Squire looks like it's doing some work. Now, this is an interesting turn here. I'm curious if he's going to go for Life Tap and the Direwolf Alpha or the Dark Iron Dwarf. Looks like Life Tap. Ooh. Just so clean with the Lowly Squire.
Yeah, he even picks up the 1-drop here, too. He gets a trade in here, and he gets to use all of his mana, and the Voidwalker puts in another taunt threats here. So this board is actually super resilient to Doomhammer, which, like I mentioned, I think it's one of the only ways he gets back into this game from this spot.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, Thing from Below can kind of put up a roadblock here, but you see there's a Dark Iron Dwarf over in Yote's Flow's hand just waiting to let one of his minions trade up into something big like that. 2 taunt minions here. It's going to slow down Yote's Flow a little bit, but he's at 25 here, and he's going to be under no pressure after this turn. So he's free to tap every turn if he wants to here. It just matters if he wants 2 1/1s, and I just like tapping.
Yeah, I think in this spot the tapping is definitely a little bit better. You just get to run over the thing from below, check out this totem, push a little damage, and the card economy now is so high for Yo It's Flow that it's really hard for Battlefrog to get back in the game. The Doomhammer I think is a little bit late here.
Yeah.
The board presence it's just too big at this point.
Yeah, it's about 2 turns too late. If he had gotten it on turn 5, I think this is a different game. I think Battlefrog is actually fighting for the board and even has chances to win the game from that spot. But I think it's a little too little, a little too late here, most likely. Dark Shadow Councilman was also picked up by Yo It's Flow here, and he has a ritual in his hand. And he picks up another minion buff here too. Jeez, he's got everything he needs.
Yeah, Dyroth even going to trade off here and just the Forbidden Ritual. I mean, Battlefrog has to basically draw Lightning Storm here, which I'm not even sure is in his build.
Yeah, we've seen some people lately teching in Lightning Storm. Even Elemental Destruction has shown up in a deck or two from Zoo, but I don't know if Battlefrog is one of the guys that does it like that, so we'll have to see. Well, he does pick up a Rock Biter here. This lets him get through a Taunter and possibly push a little bit of damage, but I think the damage coming back is going to be a little too much. Let's see, he gets in 5, 6, 7 damage this turn. Is there a card that he could top deck that'll get him out of this? Yeah, I guess he just has to pick off the Councilman, too. Yeah, I don't know if there's any way he can win from here.
I think the life total has just been too much lost at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to continue to fall behind at pretty much every step of the way.
Even picks up a Shield Bearer off of his Discover here for Yo It's Flow. I kind of like that pick. It's just super safe. You know, you're like, I think one of the only ways I could lose here is some shenanigans with this Doomhammer. So let me just pick up the Shield Bearer and just completely wrap everything up. If it was at 99%, it's at 100% win percentage now.
Yeah, I mean, Elemental Destruction I think is the only card that can even potentially get Battlefrog back in the game at this point. And not only that, but he needs card draw to go with it. So yeah. Battlefrog gets pushed out of the game on game number 1. Very classic Zoo style of game there. Yo It's Flow. We did see Gormok in Trump's build yesterday, but as Nasta mentioned, a lot of players tending to favor just Dark Iron Dwarf for the consistency's sake. And in that game, the Dark Iron Dwarfs looked really solid and a very good example of exactly why players tend to go with just the more consistent side of things. So for Flow, if that mage happens to be Freeze Mage, every single time one of these matchups that I think would tend to be a little bit weaker versus Freeze Mage gets tucked away, it's that much better for him.
Oh, absolutely. Getting the Zoo out of the way already. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that running into Freeze Mage. You have to feel pretty good about that one. And about the Dark Iron Dwarf thing, I'm right there with you. I like Dark Iron Dwarf way more than Gurmok. I mean, the card is way better when you have 1 or 2 minions in play or 0. Obviously, they're the same card if there's 0 minions in play. If there's less than 3, if you're not triggering Gurmok, obviously Dark Iron Dwarf is just way better. Plus, I mean, it's just your 5th copy of cards like Abusive Sergeant and Power Overwhelming, which are integral into your play style and your plan with the deck. So it just fits in the deck perfectly, in my opinion.
Yep, I can agree with all those sentiments. And so it's a Shaman Mirror match now, but not quite a Shaman Mirror match. Yo It's Flow has got a mid-range Shaman built, and Battlefrog's bringing the aggressive side of things. And so Yo It's Flow early has a great start, but I think fairly likely to be put in some uncomfortable positions.
Yeah, it's always the worst feeling in the Shaman Mirror when your opponent plays Tunnel Trog on 1, and your only play is the Tunnel Trog pass on 1. There's so many card combinations that you just can't come back from if they have it. If they're like Lightning Bolt, anything else, like a second Tunnel Trog into Lightning Bolt, you're so far behind that you might actually just lose right there on the spot.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's certainly one of those spots that can get pretty darn uncomfortable, I'd say.
Battlefrog's going to take his time, his turn here. He does have the option to coin out Pharaoh Spirits, but what does that do to his curve next turn? He's not going to be playing Tuskar Totemic. He's only going to be playing one of these 1-drops that he has a couple of options for. But he has a couple other options this turn if he wants. None of them are too great because, if he plays Tuskar Totemic, he doesn't get to trade into anything unless a Flanktongue Totem comes off. If he plays a Flanktongue Totem here to trade, then he's just leaving it out there to die. I mean, most of his options don't seem great, and yeah, I don't blame him for just going to Feral Spirits here and trading off. Oh, it looks like he might actually have gone face here at the last moment.
Pretty interested by the face choice here. I mean, I feel like this gets really punished by like Lightning Bolt or
yeah.
Just a lot of stuff punishes this here. I'm pretty surprised by that, honestly.
Yeah, and it just looks like even if Yo It's Flow a little overloaded that turn, he actually didn't have any way to punish him. He had a couple cards that say they were pretty good, but 2 mana didn't cast any of them.
You got to be able to cast stuff if it's going to work that way. So
I find that in this matchup, sometimes the first person to Finley, especially if they get a good hero power, is a big favorite. You know, if you're the first person to get to life tap, I mean, Battle Frog has a bigger board right now. He could pick life tap right now, and he's at 30. But he's got to worry about, you know, what happens to him if he starts to fall behind, because this is a bigger version of the deck, like you said, and Yoa's Flow's plays later on in the game are way more impactful in turns like 5 and 6. You see that he actually thinks about that. He takes Fire Blast here. It's hard to pass up on life tap when you're a shaman.
Yeah, I actually don't know if that's the right call. Maybe Battle Frog had forgotten this was like more of an aggro version, or I'm sorry, more of a mid-range version. It's a very interesting choice, I think, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be a pretty good turn for Battle Frog here. He's going to be able to trade his minions in and play 2 totems, making that thing from below possibly playable next turn.
Yeah, I mean, it is looking really good right now. I'll give him that.
Yoa's Flow has to go Tuskar Totemic here this turn. He needs to be able to play this Fire Elemental next turn, and he doesn't get one of the super impactful totems. That's actually kind of a big deal here. I think if he finds something like Manatide Totem, get an extra card. If he picks up Totem Golem himself. One of those would have been really important and really welcome at the time, because he is super far behind now with this Faceless getting put into play.
Yeah. The Faceless, I mean, this is the turn where the Hex can swing the game wide open. So, I mean, he's still at 27 right now. Oh my. Whoa. I'm shocked that Battle Frog didn't go for the second Flaming Faceless here.
I am as well. This abuse turn does allow a really good trade here. He actually picks up one of the good totems off Tuskar Totemic. Manatide is really good in this matchup because all of his minions are must answers now. Plus, you just have Manatide sitting there drawing extra cards. But I'm kind of with you. I might have gotten the second 7/7 into play. Yeah, Yoa's Flow is kind of bemoaning his luck off of his Tuskar Totemics here. They were nowhere near as good as the one that Battle Frog got. And he's going to fight a resource battle here. He's going to go ahead and take care of this Manatide Totem. The problem is there's 12 damage sitting on the board here. He's only at 20. You got to be a little worried about your game ending right here, right now. And there's a Doom Hammer off the top. That's going to put in a lot more damage, but he's going to go with the minions here. Flamer Faceless thing from below. Do a couple good trades, push 7 damage. I don't see how Yoa's Flow is going to get out of this one.
I'll tell you what, when I saw the following turn with the thing from below and the Flame Wreath in the same turn, it makes a lot more sense that way. It looked so much better in hindsight. The 2-turn setup was the difference in that one. Really strong turn there from Battle Frog. So, looking like series is tied up at 1 game apiece. Just a steamroll with the aggro shaman. And honestly, that's like a really big one too, is being able to just pick up that matchup as well. A lot of times the aggro shaman can struggle in that matchup if the tempo gets offset a little bit. But in this one, it's not quite exactly what I would say was the turn he was looking for Yoa's Flow. Just nothing really rolled his way. So rolling into game number 3. Right now, it looks like that Yogg... Oh, I'm sorry. Battle Frog's actually playing Cthulhu Druid.
Yeah. I was just about to say, I saw Druid and got kind of excited because I thought we'd see Yogg, and everyone who knows me knows I love some Yogg, but we saw Bran in his opening hand that got mulliganed, and I was like, I think that just means Cthulhu Druid. And then now we see the Dark Arakoa, so we know for a fact that it is Cthulhu Druid here. How do you like the matchup of Cthulhu Druid versus Shaman? Because the Yogg version, I find it does better than people think it does. You always assume that Shaman is a huge favorite over Druid, but I feel that the Yogg version does a little bit better than people think it does. But I haven't played the Cthulhu version versus this mid-range Shaman deck, I think, ever.
Cthulhu Druid, I think, can tend to struggle in this matchup, and one of the big reasons why is its ability to have massive swing turns. You're kind of limited to basically just Cthulhu. The rest of your turns, you're just powering out big stuff and hoping that it works. I mean, Battle Frog kind of showing you the desperation that I think Cthulhu Druid can often find itself in is just mulching this early to alleviate pressure. I mean, his hand is very clunky right now. This deck is very good at building against these slower versions that don't necessarily pressure you as much. But in this particular matchup, he's got to find a way to take the board pressure and take it super hard. And so, it might even come down to like really desperation turns like this one where the Fandral hits play and he hopes that it lives. But the rest of the time, Yoa's Flow he's got Hex for the big guys. He's got Fire Elementals to fight for the small portions of the board.
Yeah, this is going to be a coin nourish here, like you said. A little bit of a... I'm sorry, he's going to go ahead and make extra mana. I don't mind this play at all. He's going to get his bigger minions in play as soon as possible. Drawing cards there, I think, is just kind of like... You're just not doing enough for your turn 5, and you're not going to be able to keep up what's going out of It's Flow's deck here. Battlefrog actually missed a point of damage earlier in this game as well. He just kind of like attacked the totem. I think he forgot that the totem heals itself.
Well, attacking the totem, it prevents Flame Tongue Totem from trading into your guy really effectively.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Yeah, that was a play that 6-0 had found actually really early on in competitive Hearthstone. He was kind of criticized really heavily for making that play early on, and then he explained that it prevents the healing totem from trading over with Flame Tongue, and I was like, wow, that's actually really smart.
You know, yeah, it makes perfect sense, too, to make that play, too, from the Druid side, because if you win the game, you're not winning by 1 point of damage, most likely. You're going to be steamrolling your opponent. You're going to have the board. You're going to finish off with some big turn, like a Giant Cthulhu turn, so 1 point of damage actually is going to make a lot of sense, so, yeah.
Yeah, Flame Tongue, I mean, once again, you can kind of see where this ends up lining up. I just feel like every step of the way, the Druid is under massive pressure, and just no answer to Thunderbluff value. I mean, he used the Mulch on turn 3 to try to keep the pressure under wraps.
Yeah, this is one of the cards. Yeah, this is one of the cards I was alluding to, where if you misappropriate a resource, not saying that Battlefrog did, or you just don't have the right answer at the right time, one of these cards out of the Shaman deck can really run away with it because you're just not used to playing against these cards very much. Gives them the well played and concedes here on turn 8 with a handful of cards that just don't do enough.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think that's preemptive. Like at that stage, he has no answer to the board pressure. It's going to snowball way out of control. That's just a respect for It's Flow. On that one, easy game with the mid-range Shaman there, and again versus like a Token Druid, maybe a little bit tougher of a run, but versus Cthulhu Druid, they just don't have the ability to make those big board swings. So 2 points for Flow at this point. He's got 2 more to go. Rogue, I honestly against Cthulhu Druid, I feel like the Rogue is a lot more comfortable than it is against Yogg Druid, but even still, it's a good matchup for Rogue either way. So It's Flow going to queue it up, and Battlefrog opening up with a pair of Raven Idols here.
We've seen it a lot over the last few days, Nathan. Raven Idol into Raven Idol. Just infinite value. I don't mind seeing it again. And that's another Innervate if he wants it here. This could lead to some really big stuff if it comes off the top of his deck from Battlefrog here. And his hand is kind of bad, so maybe you need to just make this risk here. Take this play. Well,
I'm definitely not taking the Starfall or the Naturalize. And Innervate's a card I play with anyway, so I'm pretty inclined to take the Innervate there.
Whoa! 3 of a kind, dealer. What do I win?
Well, let's see if we can get a 4th.
Do you just Raven Idol for a minion here?
No.
You just don't even think about it?
Never. Looking for Nourish.
Oh, I say we go for quads. Nathan, nothing beats quads. There's no straight flushes in Hearthstone.
Honestly, the Starfire here is pretty good.
It does draw an extra card. It answers a lot of the problem minions out of It's Flow's deck.
Yeah, you got to think about what in this matchup is really impactful, and Tomb Pillager comes to the forefront of my mind. Like, Tomb Pillager is a massive card. So that one needs to be dealt with pretty effectively. And also, Edwin Van Cleef. Edwin Van Cleef is going to be huge anyway. There's not really much counterplay for Battlefrog in that one outside of Mulch. Naturalize. Obviously would be very good if your opponent just goes for it. So it's just going to go for the 4/4 Edwin here. I think it's good enough. A lot of times it does have Shadow Strike for some minion. Whoa! What?
Nathan, I'm excited. I just got really, really happy. And, I mean, Battlefrog's shaking his head because it's a 10 drop. He can't play it, but he's already played 2 spells this game, Nathan. There are 3 Innervates in his hand. You might just have to go for this if your hand is so bad next turn.
Well, I'm
crazy.
I like to just go. I mean, this is a big plot twist. I would not have anticipated Yogg finding its way into this deck. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Is he just going for it?
Yep, he is. I felt like he would.
He's just going for a 5-point Yogg. I don't know about this. This seems like
I'm not saying it's the best play, Nathan. I'm saying it's the greatest play, Nathan. All right, this could be say went to face -4. Could have gotten a little bit better on one of the minions.
Hey, that's a draw. 3 cards.
Yeah, I will say he doesn't matter where. He doesn't really care where that heal goes. He just wants the 3 cards here. Ice Block, not terrible. Mark of Nature. If this taunts up the Yogg, it did taunt up the Yogg. And the Cold Blood. That was a pretty good Yogg, Nathan. And there's no sap in It's Flow's hand.
Look at Flow. I mean, that was like one of the best Yoggs I've ever seen.
That was a 5 point Yogg on turn 4, Nathan.
So many options.
And now it's an 11-9 taunter. He drew 3 cards, and he has an ice block in play.
The irony of the rogue saying so many options is just pure. It's so pure.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's really funny here, too. That was a mage secret. What if it was like
Effigy.
duplicate? Yeah, or effigy. It could have been just...
Can't be duplicate, fortunately, but
Right.
did go for the backstab first to check for counterspell. If it was counterspell, could use the Sinister Strike to shore it up. If he uses the Sinister Strike, if he uses the Sinister Strike, he commits to not playing a minion this turn. So able to get the Tomb Pillager down, pretty important. So now, it's being narrowed down, knows it's not Mirror Entity. At this point, he can feel pretty confident that it's Ice Block.
It's Ice Block or, it can't be Willbender anymore. I think it has to be Ice Block.
Yeah, I think it has to be Ice Block, actually.
Yeah. Because he attacked the face, it can't be Vaporized anymore. I'm trying to remember the last time I saw a game where both Yogg and Cthulhu got cast.
Probably Kriparian stream.
Some crazy... I think I did it in a Tavern Brawl. I think I did it in the Raven Idol Tavern Brawl. Like, I just took both of them.
Going for Mulch here. I see what's going on. He's going for the Mulch into Brand to try to force some plays here.
Yeah. Yeah, he can get a clear here, and this is going to either take an Eviscerate or Sinister Strike to deal with, and that means the Eviscerate's not getting used on your face or some of your other minions, so I kind of like this play as a tempo play from Battlefrog.
Yeah, Poison will show this Cthulhu's chosen its demise. So Rogue, not in a bad spot, I'd say. I mean, it does have... The Auctioneer, I think, is really a critical card in this matchup. Yoet's Flow has not seen a swipe. He hasn't seen a Wrath. Hasn't really seen much of anything. So that Auctioneer is probably going to be in hand until we find either a ton of action to go with it or a Conceal.
Yep.
Like, if Preparation got drawn here, I think that could be the tiebreaker for Yoet's Flow. But with an Azure Drake, even if Prep got drawn here, you could just see the hold for the big push on the Fan of Knives. And so Flow going to pick up his damage here and start pushing. With that Leroy draw, the gates could be opening here.
Yeah, this is a pretty good Wrath target.
Turn. This is an alright turn. The old Fandral, Nourish, Wrath.
And so people might be wondering why he didn't Nourish last turn when he had 5 mana. He just Hero Powered instead, and then left 3 mana floating. This is why, right here. I mean, look how powerful this turn is.
Gas. Now, the Cthulhu is only an 8/8 still, so I think some more time still for Flow, but I mean, we got to see the Auctioneer here, and Flo looking a little nervous about this.
Yeah, if he does pick up a Conceal here for the Auctioneer, and it's the only minion in play, do you think there's a chance that Cthulhu just gets slammed trying to pick it off?
There's a chance, but his hand is so gassed that I think there's a lot of options to be had for this.
Yeah, there's a lot of glowing green cards in his hand.
I'm gonna go for Swipe. Honestly, just the Nourish into the 3/4 I think could be better here. How concerned
is... If he did that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, he would only gone to 10 cards, yeah.
I'm curious if Battlefrog's concerned with his life total at this point, too. I mean, Flo's been being very aggressive with the damage. And so maybe every hero power is mattering to Battlefrog right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's probably thinking, like, how do I lose this game from here? And it's probably just getting burned out, so he probably thinks every single point of armor matters from the spot.
Finally, very quick turn from Flo here. I think I would have liked to see him think about this a little bit longer. And just no action. I mean, these Ancients of War are I think, are pretty likely to start sealing it up.
Yeah, I kind of just like Ancient of War, what is it, Twilight Elder? Yeah, I think it's Twilight Elder, if I remember right. I think I just like 2 minions possibly this turn, push 3 damage, and try to end it next turn. This way you get your Cthulhu up to 9.
Well, that'd be a good reason to play Cthulhu, too, if you're just trying to end it next turn.
Well, yeah, you also... Yeah, I was going to say...
It's not going to, like, sap Cthulhu.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you do this, you actually get to push in a ton of damage. You still have Starfire and Swipe in your hand, too.
Yeah, I think this is going to do it. I mean, even the Ice Block up. Yeah, Battlefrog's just secure the entire game. That Yogg was just too powerful. It was way too powerful.
I'm happy, Nathan. We got to see a Yogg early today.
Yogg and Cthulhu. So it's desperation time for Flo, but it's just not there.
Yeah, I don't know what he could do to stop this from here.
He's looking for it. Well, the sap doesn't necessarily end the game from his perspective. We can see the damage is there. 3 from Fandral, 5 from that Starfire, and 4 from Swipe. Battlefrog going to pick up his second game, and we're tied at 2 apiece.
Yeah, I mean, this was...
Cannon.
Go ahead.
Rogue does not do very well when the Yogg is just that good.
Was it really that good of the Yogg?
Yes, 3 innervates. 3 innervates. Draws 2 naturally, gets 1 from Raven Idol. Had the option for the 4th one from the second Raven Idol, but didn't need it at that point. Wow, I mean, just what a game. And now I'm a little bit concerned for Flo in this one. He's got Druid and Rogue remaining. And Battlefrog, we've yet to see what the Mage build is, and Warlock is the other one. If that Mage is Freeze Mage, I feel for Yoet's Flo, because that could be very tough for both of his remaining decks.
Yeah, and Nathan, it doesn't look like it's Freeze Mage. This looks more like the newish Tempo Mage decks that we're seeing.
Ragnaros would be a weird choice, and there's that Flame Waker to secure. It is Tempo Mage. But Flo's kind of got one of those super important minions in hand. He does have that Edwin Van Cleef. And anytime Edwin Van Cleef is present, you can't quite count out a Rogue just yet. And there's a Conceal to go with it.
Oh boy. There could be a very big Edwin very, very early in this game.
Yeah, I think Flo's going to take his time on this one. Just stagger up and wait. Yeah, and now Teacher gets picked up too. So you may see development here before the big Edwin.
Absolutely. Now, this is kind of an awkward turn for Battlefrog as well. Yeah, you know, putting out Flame Waker there just feels kind of rough. There's so many good answers out of the Rogue deck that you don't just want to get, you know, 0 value off your guy. It looks like we're going for a big Edwin here.
Yep. Poison Coin, Edwin. 6/6 is good enough for Flo. Doesn't want to commit too many resources here. You know, this will a lot of times just prompt a Fireball on its own. And so when this gets Fireballed, this is going to start opening up the position for Flo at this point. Now Violet Teacher's looking really good.
Thank you.
But Tomb Pillager's going to be first. Yeah, Monk in our admin chat saying that he remembered that 6-0 attacking the Healing Totem at Seat Story Cup. I very much remember that. That moment stuck out to me so much. I was like, okay, I don't know anything about this game. This is great. It's not as simple as I thought it was. So here we go. Violet Teacher. Preparation. Shadow Strike. Conceal. And Battlefrog is against the wall. He's going to need some massive help here if he's going to win this game.
Well, he does get to play quite a few spells off his Flame Waker here. He could get very lucky, but the problem is they're all stealth, so you can't actually point the Frostbolt at anything.
Well, here we go. It's going for it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, just picking off some of the 1/1s has a lot of merit here. You get to put these Mirror Image into play, plus you get to freeze your opponent. Well, that was the 2 worst possible outcomes.
Yeah, I'm not sure I was a big fan of this one.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked to see him hold just a little bit longer. Battlefrog playing incredibly fast. This turn just felt like... This turn felt very poor to me.
Yeah, he seems to be playing a little more loose today. You know, like you had the early Yogg in the last game, which honestly I don't think was terrible. The Yogg is better for you than your opponent. There's a chance you get to just run away with the game, and that's what happened. You know, often Yogg does draw you extra cards, so I didn't mind the play at all. But you know, could have maybe taken it a turn or 2 slower and just saw what happened. You know, develop from there. But like you said, this one feels a little hasty to me for sure.
Yeah, this is going to turn into a nightmare. Say goodbye to the Flame Waker. Very wide board range. This is that's bad.
There needs to be a Flame Strike on the top of this deck.
Well, that's not it.
He has one in his deck. That was not it, though, like you said. Now, Yoet's is out of cards. Let's say he picks up the Flame Strike here. A little glimmer of hope. And you can see it on Battlefrog's face. He knows he might have just possibly stolen this one.
Yeah, I mean, Flo now needs a card draw. He picks up Backstab and Preparation.
Yeah.
I mean, he might have... That Flame Strike is going to get him back in this game. He's going to take a lot of damage here, but Mana Worm Flame Strike into Ragnaros, that's about as good as it's going to get from this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was such a big top deck here. Yeah, you can see on Yoet's Flow's face, he's not happy about seeing that Flame Strike.
Needed to fade that AoE.
So he picks up here, he needs
Auctioneer. Auctioneer is the card to draw.
Yeah. SI7 agent, not exactly the minion he was looking for here.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and play it.
Yeah, I do like getting a 3-3 into play, honestly. Yeah, get something going. I mean, you can't just sit there and wait.
I'm actually kind of shocked that Ragnaros didn't find the board this turn.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked as well. I mean, I can understand the thinking behind just going ahead and using the torch there. You know, Rogue has so few minions that when you get to just remove them from the board... oh, that was a big one. We're going to see the Ragnaros now, Nathan.
Oh, my. Yeah, I mean, you'll definitely see Ragnaros at this point. Now he's got gas to follow it up with the Arcane Intellect. And honestly, last turn still would have been better, I think, just getting the damage.
I was going to say, if he would have drawn something like Frostbolt or the other torch, I think there's a chance
I don't know what's going on. Battle Frog's playing this way too quickly.
Yeah. This is
just worse.
Now, Nathan, we do have a Yogg count, because there's another Yogg going on here. That's 8 for this Yogg. So a little bit better than the last one, so we're going to have to see what works out here. Now, Leroy Jenkins out of the Yo's hand. Not a great minion to lead with here, but he picks up some Cold Bloods and Eviscerates. There's a chance he could steal one here.
Finally, the Ragnaros. Finally.
Yeah, I feel like there could have been a little more damage put on the Yo's face here. Maybe cut
a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more. So like we could have possibly cut at least one draw step away in this game, but
there's Fan. Yeah, Flo gonna scoop it up. No way to live past that one. And that mage absolutely trounced the Rogue, which honestly, that's not too terribly uncommon either. Tempo Mage is just a fantastic matchup versus the decks that want to fight for that tempo. I mean, Tempo Mage does it better, and even has the top end. He even got to the top end to really support it, despite the fact that he wasn't chamming Ragnaros a lot sooner. So Flo got to win back-to-back games. Has Yogg, Token Druid, and Miracle Rogue to fight off against Battle Frog's Zoo Warlock. If that Rogue is lacking early game tools, this matchup is all but lost at that point. And if it has early game tools, different story. But Battle Frog's got a great opening hand. Yelt's Flow does have SI7 agent, but no backstab, no prep.
And no coin. That's actually pretty important here, too. The Zoo player, Battle Frog getting the coin here, that would be the biggest sigh of relief for me.
Yeah, looking like he's eyeing the Knife Juggler. Nope, he's going to go with the old bot lane duo here, the attack and the support.
Yeah, and Battle Frog, I mean, if you're on Battle Frog side, you got to be feeling good here. Like, you've had multiple games where it felt like, I can't win from this spot. I'm forced to Yogg on turn 5 and hope it's good for me and it works. And then the last game, I mean, he was dead if he didn't top deck the Flame Strike, which I believe he probably only has one of in his deck. And he gets it, and then the follow-up behind it, you know, he had a Ragnaros sitting there, he had a Yogg sitting there, he drew some extra cards. I mean, it feels like he is just destined to win this match.
Yeah, I mean, the Flame Strike draw was definitely the big one. You know, it was surprising that he lost the board as hard as he did early, but that's the board state that Edwin Van Cleef often creates. So Yo gonna take the Eviscerate here on the Flame Imp.
Yeah, and
I think this is right.
No, I really think it's right, Nathan. And I really agree with this play. This is something I used to like talk to Purple about a lot. He was like possibly one of the best rogue players in the world, if not the best rogue player in the world. And he talks about in these matchups, a lot of people lose because they just refuse to use their removal early. And he's like, you just take too much damage early, then you eventually get bursted out by, you know, like a Doom Guard and Power Overwhelming or something where, you know, if you saved an extra 4 or 6 points of damage early in the game, you could never lose because your top end is just so powerful. You know, Violet Teacher plus Backstab next turn and, you know, his weapon is still very good. You're still presenting huge threats on the board that Battle Frog either has to ignore to get in more damage or figure out a way to kill. And that's going to cost him a lot of resources.
Yeah, so Flo, I'm certain, can have his interest piqued by the fact that he didn't see that 1 mana get used this turn.
Mm-hmm.
So the first Violet Teacher, pretty easy one to go ahead and use. Just backstab, make your 1/1, and keep your dagger up to deal with a larger threat. And so Soulfire here can answer the Violet Teacher.
Yeah, he actually gets a pretty good turn here. The Darkstar Councilman was a pretty nice pickup. He gets to trade in with both of his guys here, make 2 more 1/1s behind this, and get a 3-power Darkstar Councilman that's going to threaten to take over this game. But if he picks up a card to combo with this SI7 Age, I mean, he could have just prepped, but You could take down this Darkshire Councilman for only taking 3 damage off of it. I think that's better than the alternative of giving Battle Frog another turn to play some minions here.
Yeah, I'm guessing prep is on the menu this turn. I mean, the Councilman is the big threat at this stage. I mean, that's basically the win condition here for Battle Frog. Is going to keep the prep and just use the Cold Blood and SI7 agent. I don't mind this either. This does forego the dagger up this turn, but the preparation I feel is a little bit more valuable than the Cold Blood, I'd say. I mean, preparation can unlock some sick potential with Gadget and Auctioneer. Also,
it gives him a pretty decent turn next turn if he needs to do this. He can Violet Teacher prep into a spell that he draws and still dagger up against this board.
Yep, so Fan of Knives would be pretty good. Conceal, not bad.
Yeah, I almost feel like you have to prep here just to keep the 2 mana so you could, make a knife and make another 1/1. It just seems super important that you get a board going here.
Yeah, the making the extra 1/1 is really the important part of this. At this stage, Yoet's Flow needs everything he can to claw back into this one. He's taken more damage than Battle Frog. Oh, mama.
That was a big draw,
to say the least. Doomguard, Battle Frog just rolls his eyes like, well, if I'm going to draw this way, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's actually what he's saying here. He's just like, man, I feel like I just can't lose. My draws have just been so great in every one of these games, and they have. I mean, his draws have just panned out. They've looked really bad at times, or he's looked really dead at times, and, not to take anything away from his play skill, but his deck just refuses to let him lose.
Flo going to try to find his way back in this game. He'll be at 1 life after this turn. Battle Frog needs a single point of damage to end the game. Abusive Sergeant. Direwolf Alpha. Crazed Alchemist will do it. Flip that Doomguard to a 7-power guy. Giddy up. Battle Frog going to take it 4 games to 2. I don't think I've ever seen someone win a series and be as upset as Battle Frog is right now.
I've been on the other ends of these myself where I'm the player who got supremely lucky in a match. You feel like you could never win. I know I've played a match where I think I was something like an 80 to 90% dog to win, and I just won. My opponent, mulliganed a bunch, just didn't do anything, and they just died. And when the match is over, it's shook their hand, and I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, sorry is probably not the right word because they don't want to hear it at the time. And you're just like, I don't even know how I won. I'm very aware that I got super lucky, and I can definitely, win's a win, but I can definitely, understand where Yoet's Flow is coming from.
Yeah, so Yoet's Flow,
where Battle Frog is coming from.
Yeah, so Yoet's Flow is dropped out of the tournament at this point. He'll be getting a 3rd and 4th place, but he's taking home $750 for his efforts. So not a bad weekend of work, but Battle Frog has found himself in the finals. He had to play a tiebreaker match leading into this feature. 2 players were tied for the last spot in points leading into this feature, and so needed to win a tiebreaker to actually secure himself the feature match. Won that one. Now he's found himself in the grand finals, the whole thing. He is a single match away from heading to PAX Prime to compete for his share of $25,000. So our second match going to be coming up after this one. But before we go to a short break, we want to take this time to thank the sponsors who make this event possible. GEICO for being the title sponsor for the entire Hearthstone circuit. $60,000 in prizes being awarded. If you insure anything, and I mean anything at all, GEICO can save you some money. Head over to geico.onog.gg and get yourself a free quote and see exactly how much you can save. While you're there, you can sign up to win a Cyber Power Gamer Extreme 1000 PC. If you've been looking for a new rig, maybe you don't need to shell out the cash just yet. You can enter to win that free drawing. Get yourself a free computer while you're on the website. Again, the website is geico.onog.gg. Also, thanks to Video Game Voters Network, a grassroots network of gamers encouraging the esports community to get out there and vote in the 2016 election. They host a lot of contests and giveaways and stuff like that. So head over to their website, videogamevoters.com, and thanks to Razer. So first match in the books, Battle Frog, looking solid so far, but that attitude, a little bit less celebratory than I think we'd seen. But our second match of the day is coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere, guys. More Hearthstone right after the break. Welcome back to the One Nation of Gamers 2016 Circuit Feature number 5. I am Nathan, that's Admiral Zamora, joined by the Tan and Grace. We just saw Battle Frog take a pretty quick series versus Yo It's Flow. That actually might be one of the quickest best of sevens I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only were the games fast, but they were played fast. And then, when you have a turn 5 Yogg go your way, was it even turn 4? Was it a turn 4 Yogg?
Turn 4 Yogg in Cthulhu Druid.
In Cthulhu Druid, yeah. Let me say that one again. Turn 4 Yogg in Cthulhu Druid, and it's profitable. Like, you draw extra cards and your Yogg gets enhanced. That makes for fast games, Nathan.
Well, and he got an ice block down. I mean, it was like one of the craziest Yoggs I've seen in quite a while. I honestly didn't think he was going to go for it that soon, and so he just let it rip and ended up getting an ice block. Made the Yogg a giant taunt minion.
Yeah,
and then drew 3 cards.
Battle Frog's the kind of guy that strikes me that he's just going to let it rip in those situations. I mean, he's down in the match. His hand is looking really bad. He just has triple innervate and he draws Yogg. It's like, well, this is the draw that Hearthstone gave me, so I'm going to take it and hope it works out.
Yeah, indeed. So bound to see quite the opposite, I'd say, here in this matchup. It's Dart versus VX14 in the semifinal spot. GSL group stage was day 1 and 2 of this event. It was best of 5 conquest with 1 ban. And now we've moved on to the single elimination stage, which is now best of 7 conquest with 1 ban. So these players vying for not only that $3,000 prize that's up top, but also for that PAX Prime final spot with a $25,000 prize pool. VX14, we saw him play on day 1 where he took out Fatalocity twice in the upper bracket and in the lower bracket, largely on the back of his Reno Paladin and his Reno Priest. Fatalocity had a control deck in his lineup, and the Paladin and Priest did massive work to his control.
Yeah, I remember watching the match and feeling really bad for Fatalocity. I just felt like he was such a dog in his match that he just couldn't ever possibly win. I mean, I think he played well. He had a good strategy. It's just sometimes it doesn't even matter when the matchup's that rough for you.
Yeah, we're talking the Priest. It was so bad. Like, he had his Zoth Paladin, and the Priest for VX14 had a copy of Mind Control. Build. That's going to take Tyrion. I mean, you don't even have to entombment draw at that point. You just literally yoink it to your side of the board. And the Reno Paladin, it was built very greedy as well. And so just having the extra top end potential of the threats was really throwing the Zoth Paladin off balance. Got a lucky steal at one point with the Sylvanas. He went for a 50-50, ended up taking Tyrion, and the game snowballed from there. But I mentioned that I feel like his lineup could really struggle versus the sort of standard aggressive lineups that we're used to seeing in tournaments. And it did. It ended up struggling against Battle Frog specifically. Battle Frog took the series 3-1, despite the fact that there was Reno present in multiple of those games. So now we look at this match versus Dart, where Dart's Rogue has been banned away. So he's got Druid, Shaman, Warlock, and Warrior left to work with. VX14 is on Druid, Paladin, Priest, and Warlock. And it's just such a different thing to see with the Priest and the Paladin in there. I mean, these are 2 of the classes I feel like that have fallen out of favor. The VX14's top 4 of this event now with them.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2 drastically different lineups, Admirable. I mean, you're seeing what is probably just one of the best lineups that you're going to see from everyone in Dart over there. It was just like the normal lineup that everyone just kind of is like, yeah, this is just the best way to do it. And you look at VX14, not only do you see Paladin, you see Priest. And if you've been paying attention to social media lately, people have been talking about how the Priest class is dead, and it needs to be changed for it to even be playable. And here we are, the top 4 of a tournament with a huge prize pool, and there's Priest. I mean,
Priest it definitely has its role. The role though is anti-control, and control right now, sort of the story around that is that control decks just aren't that strong. So when control is strong, Priest is as a result strong because it beats the other control decks. The problem is that the aggressive builds are so refined and they're so powerful. They have all the tools they need to force through damage and snag tempo, get just the amount of card advantage they need, have that massive burst. I feel like the incentive to play control is not necessarily there. But we're going to find out how this matchup rolls. Dart going to keep his Crazed Alchemist in the Zoo build, and it is an important one versus Paladin. I'm curious if Dart remembers that this was a Reno Paladin.
When he keeps that Crazed Alchemist, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, maybe he knows that VX14 has these kind of crazy lineups and that the Crazed Alchemist can actually get value here. It's good to see Dart. I haven't seen him much lately. I know that he's been around forever and he just keeps playing in everything, and the guy's a very good player. He's also in a brand new team esports hero along with some other really good players, so it's good to see him out and competing.
Yeah, if you talk to Dart anytime, he'll let you know that he is a full-time medical student as well. So kind of rotates in and out of the competitive scene, I imagine. Just kind of based around his time. Like if he's got exams coming up, probably not playing much Hearthstone. But
I wouldn't think so.
If it's the summer, I mean, you can just take a look at Dart's background and know what kind of man he is.
Now, Nathan, I'm going to ask you something. Let's say, God forbid, something bad happens to you. You need surgery. You need a doctor. Okay. Would you want your doctor to be a Hearthstone player or not? Would you rather a doctor that is a Hearthstone player or isn't?
Tannen, if you're asking me if I would let Dart operate on me, knowing Dart personally, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Dart would he'd be like, oh, I can't stand this guy. I'm gonna get him.
Nick the artery.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually know what field he's studying specifically. We never talked specifics of it. He kind of just mentions that he's in medical school, and ends up leaving it at that. So, turn 3 looking high and dry for VX14. It is just going to be hero power and pass. So
When's
Dart.
The last time you saw a Crazed Alchemist in both hands of a Premier tournament, Nathan?
Well, it's certainly different. For VX14, the Crazed Alchemist, it looks a little bit wonky.
I'm believing this is just going to be a Reno game again, and like you said, I wonder if Dart knows this. If he's done his research, I think he just has to know, right?
Goes for the juggle here. I'd like to see him use, the Dart Peddler here. This is a little bit stronger versus Consecration, leaves 2 minions back on board instead of just 1. And VX14 going to go for the True Silver Champion here and try to set up a better Consecration later on. The Finley is also in VX14's build, which I found really interesting because he's got a copy of Justicar in here. And so this is kind of what I'm talking about with this build. Against the control matchups, his build feels like it's got this incredibly long game plan in mind where he can continue to surmount an advantage at every step of the way. And versus the aggressive decks, he's just hoping he draws the right early game tools and that he gets the right spots. And versus Dart here, he's going to get one of those spots. This Consecration is going to be unbelievably strong.
Yeah, there's just no play that he can really make this turn to not make this Consecration strong. He could play the Darkshire Councilman, but Consecration plus the weapon cleans it up. And honestly, I would have at least thought about making that play just because you would get the charge of the True Silver for sure as well.
He drew the Councilman off the life tap, so that was off the menu.
Okay, sorry, I missed that, yeah.
So I cannot spot another play here for VX14 other than Consecration. Maybe the Finley first just to take a look and see what you get. Maybe it changes something. Picks up Fire Blast.
That's a good one in this matchup.
And you look at Dart's reaction like, yep, what can I do? I mean, I feel for him. This is the way the Reno decks seem to operate every single time. They just have it.
Yeah, they only have one copy of it in their deck. That's why you see that reaction from Dart. I think if it was any other Paladin deck, he'd just be like, yeah, you have Consecration, and he might even play around it even more. But when you know it's a Reno version of the deck, you're like, man, there's a good chance they don't have it.
Yep, VX14 is going to continue to solidify this board. Draws that little super annoying taunt, and since he has such a heavy control over this board, that taunt is going to be incredibly strong. Dart with Soulfire and Leroy in hand. He needs some action, he needs it now. That's not a bad one.
Not at all. And
that's not a bad
follow this
one.
up with a Gurmok as well.
Okay, so Mind Control Tech now will be active. So this steal's pretty important. VX14 is going to be able to just chew through this board. I mean, his hand is so good to fight this, and he picked up the Mage Hero power from Finley.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the Mage Hero power actually pretty good in this matchup. Anytime you can deal with the 1/1s that are on the other side of the board, it takes away a lot of extra value that Zoo has. They have these sticky minions that stick around. You can actually clean them up with this Mage Hero power pretty easily. And then if he ever gets to Justicar this too, it actually just kills most of the minions in Dart's deck right away.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of liking the Keeper of Uldamon this turn as well. So like, say you attack the 2/2, or say you, I'm sorry, you Mind Control Tech first, try to steal the 2/2. If you don't steal the 2/2, you can attack it, and then use the Keeper of Uldamon to effectively heal back up the taunt minion afterwards. So won't be going for that, but will Crazed Alchemist. Kind of the same thing, honestly. Get some grid use out of the Crazed Alchemist here. And once again, Dart set back to no board stay. I think this is lights out from this point because VX14 is just established major control.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think he can lose from this point, but I kind of like his play a little bit more in the fact that you're just thinking about how you're going to lose from this point, and maybe you think there's some Sea Giant thing that happens from here, and you have this Keeper of Uldamon to answer a Sea Giant, and it's just a super safe play to not lose from this point.
Yeah, he didn't know. He actually didn't know what the build here was from Dart. His Dart was did not have Warlock in his lineup yesterday. So there's that Kodo right on time.
Another card I'm a huge fan of. I'm so glad to see Kodo constructed, Nathan.
It's actually an interesting turn for VX. I wonder if there's a chance he could just push damage. We've seen him play super conservative every step of the way, though, so not a surprise that it continued. Dart, no action. Oh, is he going to be 1 damage? So if he picks up another Power Overwhelming, he's got 14. He's 1 damage off lethal if he picks up Power Overwhelming.
Yeah, you can see that on his face here. He's like, well, wait a minute.
Did I miss a point of damage this game? That Dark Peddler attack to strengthen against Consecrate. Did that change things?
I mean, we don't know how the game plays out from that point if, things go a little differently, but still, yeah, it makes you think. Anytime I'm playing an aggressive deck and I get to within 1 point of lethal, I'm like, I probably messed up somewhere. Did I miss a point somewhere?
I don't think he can win.
Yeah, I mean, it gave him a glimmer of hope, but I just don't think it's going to be there. I don't think you're going to be able to get through this.
Oh, that's not going to win. Oh, maybe is there Doomguard this build? Maybe.
Oh, yeah, possibly.
That's just lethal on board actually for
right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, he's actually got 11 with the hero power here. Yep.
So that's going to wrap up game number 1. Dart close, but no cigar. That Consecration wiped out his whole board, and that's really the one he's looking to fade. I mean, that's Reno decks in a nutshell. When they draw their early tools that line up very well, they have a massive advantage. When they don't draw them, which most of the time they don't, the other deck is at a massive advantage. I mean, that's kind of just the way you play against Reno decks, is you ignore their range, you push, and you hope.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of got spoiled with, the Reno deck of last season with Reno Warlock, and I felt like that deck was actually pretty consistent for a Reno deck. You get to draw so many extra cards. You always saw, like, the top 15 to 20 cards of your deck, and you can just kind of expect to see Reno more often. But, stuff like Paladin and Priest, they don't draw as many cards, they don't have as many AoE effects, and they don't have as many free card draws as Warlock does, where you just get to keep tapping. Yep. And, that just goes into your game plan with Reno as well. And so you got kind of spoiled. You're like, I always found Reno, my deck was consistent, and these just aren't as consistent, but it looked really good in that game. That Consecration, like you said, was backbreaking.
Yep. So VX14 continues to win with these Reno builds. And, I mean, maybe we're just all wrong. Yeah. I mean, he's played pretty darn well. I don't think I've really seen many missteps from VX14. I mean, he's been super patient at times. He's always looking for a better play. Like, even when the plays are right in front of him, he had an opportunity to just mind control Tyrion, and still he was thinking about it. Like, is there a better opportunity? Could I do something even better this turn?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen him be very deliberate, I think, is the way I'd like to put it with him. He takes his time in all of his plays, thinks about what his opponent can do the next turn, and sometimes that looks conservative, but I think he's just playing safe. He's got these super control decks, and he's in a situation where he's going to win 70 to 80% of the time. He's like, how can I get it to 90 and 95% of the time? Yep. And he's looking for those few extra points. You can't fault a guy, especially when you're playing for this much money.
Yeah. So if Darts does research, he knows that this is a Reno Priest. So when he's looking at this Abusive Sergeant on turn 1, I'm really curious about that, because it feels to me like turn 3 Flame Wreath Faceless is a reasonable way to just outright win the game. So picks up that Hunter hero power, and off to a blistering start, just favoring more power on the board. I'm really interested by that.
Yeah, I am as well. Maybe playing around Shadow Word here, like, doesn't want to get his Argent Squire killed. You lose the bubble from it there, so maybe just putting a minion that he feels is more expendable into play. But I'm a big fan of Abusive Sergeant against Priest decks. Wow. And I don't like giving them away ever if I can avoid it.
That's a really interesting play. Just goes for the Wild Pyromancer.
Yeah, just turns his Wild Pyromancer. Yeah, he just turns it into a Shadow Word here.
Yeah, so Dart going to reload with Tunnel Trog. And the Argent Squire here. Flame Tongue Totem to help fight the board position next turn. And then after that, he's got Flame Wreath Faceless. VX is going to need some real help in this game.
Yeah, like the positioning on the left there. You want to put the Flame Tongue Totem to the left here if you want to trade in. Don't want to give it to your Tunnel Trog if you can avoid it.
Yep, so there's the Flame Tongue. Easy trade for the Finley.
Yep.
Flame Wreath set up to come down next turn. The X14, honestly, his turn 4 is not that bad. He's got Crazed Alchemist for the Flame Tongue and then Shadow Word Pain to follow up. The big problem is going to be that Flame Wreath Faceless. But, I mean, now he's on Flash Heal. He's got Alkanite Flash Heal now. So if the Crazed Alchemist doesn't tie this turn.
He's got a lot of tools to help keep this in check, because this is a great draw from Dart. I mean, this is an amazing early draw that he's got here, but Lightning Storm, not the one you want to be drawing in this matchup.
If he doesn't trade off that Crazed Alchemist, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, this is going to be really bad for him if he doesn't, and I wonder if that's even in the back of his mind, but it looks like he's going to here. Well, that just saved Dart a lot of damage in this game. There's that Mind Control. This isn't the matchup that you want that card for. Do you just have to... Well, okay, so like if you Holy Nova here, it actually kills the 1/1, puts 2 damage, and heals for 2, but if you Flash Heal here, he has to kill your 3/5, because otherwise your Hero Power kills it next turn.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I look at this position, and I wonder if Dart can just push face. Like, your opponent can't heal while the Alkanize in play. You have a Doomhammer and a Hunter Hero Power. I like this play from Dart. Giddy up.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Shadow Word Horror will take out the minion threat.
This is going to clear the board.
Well, the problem is he can't heal, and he's at 15, and the Doomhammer's coming down. He obviously doesn't know the Doomhammer's there, but...
I think he's actually considering trading into the Flamir Faceless here, clearing the board, and then healing. Like, giving himself his actual hero power back, instead of just taking the value of killing the Flamir Faceless.
Which I don't imagine is what VX envisioned when he made this play.
I honestly think you just have to do this. It might just be the right play here, because you go up to 17, you kind of cancel out Dart's hero power from here, and he's only got 2 cards left in his hand, and you're hoping that they're not, hugely impactful cards. Which we can see one of them is a pretty impactful card, but the other one's kind of a dud.
Yeah, honestly, I think he might need to trade it off, because I look at this situation and wonder, is Reno the only way he's getting back into this game?
Yeah, I think you just have to... I think if you trade off, it gives you the most possible draws. Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot, actually. I think I would just want to give myself the most possible draw steps for the rest of the game.
Yep, and here we go. It's the Doomhammer.
Now, there is some weapon removal in VX14's deck. We have seen it before. That would be a very timely top deck here.
Well, that's not a timely top deck.
Yeah.
Is someone injured?
You go ahead and play Northstar Cleric. If you're Dart, you love seeing that turn.
That is a lonely... Oh, that's
There's
lethal.
lethal.
Dart picks up Rockbiter Weapon.
Yeah.
It's going to win this game versus Priest. So powerful is Flame Wreath Faceless when the Priest cannot answer it immediately. Tell you what, 7 damage and resources invested from your opponent. Nice card.
Yeah. Fair card, Blizzard. Take note. But it's like you said, when you play these Reno decks, when you live and die by these decks, that's what happens. You have the small inconsistencies of not having 2 copies of a card in your deck, so you don't have 2 Shadow Word Death, which is an important card in that matchup for Priest, because, like you said, if they can't kill the 7/7, like, it's so hard for them to take care of it off the board without something like Shadow Word Death. And the X14 got put into this weird position where he went for a game plan, he set up a really good game plan, and then the next turn had to completely deviate from it. And you're not going to win a lot of games of Hearthstone where you have to do that.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I'm very concerned with the Priest against this lineup. I mean, Dart has got a lot of strong, aggressive builds that the Priest is going to have to perform against. If it does not, that Priest will be the weak spot of VX's lineup. So tied at 1 game apiece. We'll see how game 2 is going to roll out. An elimination match for these two. It's going to be the Zoo Warlock Mirror VX14. This was kind of the kicker to his lineup on day 1. Was this and the Yogg Token Druid. And Dart does have that attacker's advantage, which is really important in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. The first person to get a favorable trade in this matchup is generally the person that's going to win. It definitely puts you in a favorable position. Crazed Alchemist can actually do some really cool stuff in this matchup as well. You can turn your Voidwalkers into 3/1s. You can flip some of their minions back and forth, so your trades are more your trades are just better in certain situations. So the card is really flexible, and it's just a 2/2 for 2, which getting anything onto the board in this matchup is a big plus.
Yep, so here we go. Voidwalker is pretty darn good versus this hand from VX14. He's going to match it with his own. And a Possessed Villager. 2 Power Overwhelmings early on. That could be... You know, that could be enough to keep him from finding those favorable trades he needs.
I mean, at least he has a Possessed Villager, though. I mean, that is the best card to pair Power Overwhelming early in a game. You know, you don't actually lose too much of a card. You lose the Power Overwhelming and you lose the front half of the Possessed Villager, but you at least get some, you know, something left over. But like you said, this is going to actually be kind of a detriment to him here because he would like pretty much anything else in the situation. There's that Lowly Squire again, Nathan.
Yeah, it's definitely not the choice this time.
No,
it's between Possessed Villager and Elven Archer, and the Elven Archer offers the flexibility of taking things out, which is super important in this matchup. And I'm interested to see how Dart actually plays this, because Imp Boss is so good. It's like the minion that creates so much trouble for this matchup. So if he plays this Imp Boss, I'm thinking he's trading on the Dark Peddler to prevent Abusive Sergeant from being too powerful.
So many possibilities.
Yeah, I
Still gets hurt by
definitely
Power
agree.
Overwhelming, but I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, but I think you're in a situation where you just have to play the Imp Gang boss here, and this is the turn that VX14 was looking for. Power Overwhelming plus, oh, he picks up another 1-drop too. This turn's going to be perfect now. Elven Archer going to show some value. This is one of my favorite cards to discover, by the way, off of Dark Peddler. I love it when Elven Archer gets value.
The extra 1/1 on board, and honestly, that maybe just be better than a card right now too. Now Dart's in a really rough spot. So Peddler going to try to climb his way out of this one.
Yeah, Mortal Coil, Voidwalker, all of those are really good options. Flame Imp's okay. Don't know if it's great on this board right now. Blood Imp's not terrible, but it doesn't really affect the board too much. Reliquary Seeker is kind of not a card at this point.
I think I like the Blood Imp here.
Yeah, I was actually kind of leaning towards the Blood Imp a tiny bit myself, but it matters what Dart thinks he's going to do over the next few turns. Yeah, he agrees with us.
If he's going to play the Blood Imp, I like the Argent Squire too. So now if the buff lands on the Possessed Villager, that shield doesn't stay there. Mm-hmm. So Darkshire Councilman, Possessed Villager for VX14.
And VX14's hand, like you said, a little clunky at the beginning of the game. You know, he had these both power overwhelmings, but his hands come together quite nicely in this game. He's getting to curve out pretty hard every turn.
Well, it's gonna be tough. I mean, that Blood Imp is actually doing a lot of work right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not only is it sitting there like representing a buff activator, but it's keeping his minions alive through these 1-health attacks.
Oh, that was a big draw here. This allows him to kill the councilman here when he wasn't going to be able to otherwise.
I'm curious if that's even better right now. I mean, I wonder if Dart just has the ability to fight through this without using that. You know, getting the buff off the Blood Imp right now is very significant. Like, I could see Abusive Sergeant just set the councilman to 1 health. He's going to go for the Power Overwhelming. I certainly don't blame him for that. I mean, that card is terrifying.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this play here. He's going to go ahead and just get some more value out of his Blood Imp and trade off a few other minions here and just hope to God he has the last minion standing. We know how good this is against what VX14 has in his hand right now. He has a Power Overwhelming that it's not going to get a lot of value against this board.
That Blood Imp actually should activate an additional time too.
Right.
So I think it's actually good enough to Power Overwhelming then. I forgot about that it would activate before it died.
Gurmok's a 4/4. I mean...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, you're not getting to activate it, but still, it's better than tapping and hoping you draw something you could play.
Well, maybe. So at this point, VX14's behind.
True.
And so how is he going to recover the game? If he ends up playing this Gormok and the Gormok doesn't succeed, or just gets run over and Dart has 2 things to add behind it, I don't think it's going to be good enough.
No, that's actually a really good point. You know, the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you might actually just have to gamble here to be in this game.
And this is even hard here too. I mean, do you consider Power Overwhelming here? If that 2/3 stays, it's just going to eat 2 minions. The Power Overwhelming basically needs to try to become a minion right now.
You know, when Blood Imp is good, it is really good. And like matchups like this, where it's super board centric and you're trading the whole time, you just see the value of a card like that. It was amazingly brutal early in this game on Dart's side.
All right, so going to keep the Power Overwhelming. And Dart, those are good draws.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dart may have just taken over this game.
Yeah, when you're the first person to attack and the first person to really start utilizing your hero power, it puts you in a very good position in this matchup.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
I will say that wasn't the worst draw ever. It's going to get a 2-1 on board, allow him to trade up into his Voidwalker and develop a 4-4. Oh, it looks like he's going to go ahead and tap here as well.
He's got to keep tapping, and those are just not what he needs right now. I mean, he needed Imp Gang Boss here. He needed Forbidden Ritual here. He needed anything that didn't cost 4 mana here.
Yeah,
and I think that's just going to be it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see. Oh boy, I definitely don't see him recovering from this board state. I mean, it is VX14. I'm gonna laugh when he just draws Twisting Nether.
That's definitely not in the build.
Jeez,
oh
wow!
My God.
I definitely feel for VX14 here. It was pretty much the worst draws in his deck.
He's literally got a Doom Guard.
Yep.
Pitches both Defender of Argus.
Ugh, he wanted to keep one of the Defender of Argus there at least too. You can see that he's a little distraught by that discard. It was definitely the worst possible discard for him. Yeah, Dart's got some options here too.
No, it's no options. Power Overwhelming, trade over the Doom Guard.
Yeah.
Defender of Argus. Go ahead. Whoa, Dart! Dart!
You can be a little hasty there.
And maybe Power Overwhelming is the 2/2. You got to kill the Doom Guard. Like, this is silly. Is he setting up 2-turn lethal here? 13.
Puts in to 11. If he does this, he has 3, 6,
yeah, it would be
7,
2-turn
8.
lethal.
Right.
That actually might be a little bit better. I criticized too early. I'm like on autopilot mode when I play this matchup. I'm like, keep the board from doing anything ever.
Yeah, you're just like trade every turn. When you're like, wait a minute, I probably could have pushed a lot of damage where I can't possibly lose.
You're like, look, I'm ahead. I'm gonna get more ahead.
Yeah. How ahead do you need to be, honestly?
Like when I play card games and I have the option to like kill my opponent or just draw 8 more cards, I just like drawing 8 more cards.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You gotta make them suffer. You have to establish dominance as much as possible.
All right, so that's gonna do it. Dart sends it 2-turn lethal. Hey, Sea Giant joins the party. Me. No, Sea Giant, not today. Wraps up game number 3 with a 2-1 lead now. So VX14, you needed to find a win with the Zoo deck too. And that mirror match, so critical. And again, every single time Dart locks away another one of these decks, it's feeling good. You know, I think the Zoo one is one that he probably wants to avoid with all of his lineup anyway. It just feels like it's not operating super well versus that. So now the Warrior from Dart, which we haven't seen just yet. Dart's Warrior, I believe, was banned away yesterday the entire time. And I'm curious what it ends up being. You know, Dart strikes me as the kind of person who, while capable of playing some of the top-end control decks, you know, he's favored those a lot from time to time. Looking at what he's been doing recently, it's just power play. So I think like Tempo Warrior, Dragon Warrior are really the two that I would look at for that.
I mean, that's been the flavor about the last month, right? You just see Dragon Warrior everywhere. I've actually seen a small resurgence of Pirate Warrior lately. I've been playing it at least a little bit myself too. A lot of these decks are eschewing a lot of their life gain. They're not playing as many taunters, and so these like really aggressive face decks can actually get in a ton of extra damage early in the game. But looks like we're not going to get to find out what Warrior deck it is just yet.
Rolling into that Priest. We didn't see if Dart had Onyxia in his build yesterday, which has become like pretty much a staple for all of these decks. Is like being able to just drop Onyxia and then have Savage Roar. We see the scenarios. I mean, sometimes there's both, but I don't know if Cenarius is actually better than Onyxia or not. I've tended to favor it, but it's anyone's guess, I think, at this point. And Dart going to go for what looks like a turn 1 Violet Teacher here. There's no turn 1 play from VX14, and this is likely to just absolutely snowball out of control.
Yeah, I really like this play considering that you have Wrath in your hand. I mean, you almost can't get punished from here. You're trying to think of what are the 2 drops in VX14. It's most likely going to be something like this, a Dark Peddler. You can clear this out of the way with a Wrath, create a 1/1, and then you can probably just steamroll the game from here.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at like 1 or 2 pickups from Dart being able to seize full control.
This is the kind of game like you just mentioned. If Dart draws the right card on turn 3 or 4 and just kind of like curves a little bit, I don't see how VX14 wins from here, and that's a pretty big pickup. Yeah.
Wrath here all day, and set up for that Living Roots and Hero Power next turn. So VX14, how's he going to climb back into this game? It's looking like Knife Juggler and Sea Giant are going to be 2 pretty big factors.
Oh, he does pick up a Doom Guard as well. It's actually pretty important that he might be able to just Doom Guard here on turn 5 if this Violet Teacher continues to run away with the board, but...
Well, I mean, this is a stage where Dark just go wide. I mean...
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just a big fan of Doom Guarding as soon as possible against Druid decks most of the time. If you ever get 2 attacks out of a Doom Guard against Druid, which happens more often than you think, it's really hard to lose.
Dart does have to think about it. If he puts too many minions on board, too, to unlock Sea Giant.
Yeah, and he doesn't have an answer to that card right now, either. So if you Wild Growth here, it doesn't give you too many extra... I mean, you do get to play the Mire Keeper plus Living Roots next turn, but I like this, actually. Just clean up a lot of stuff here. Take care of the Imp Gang boss, trade off, leave him with just a 1-1. And if you want, you can even clear the board here and leave yourself with a 3-3 and a 1-1. If you want to get really aggressive, and I think he does. I mean, just protecting your Violet Teacher here against literally everything out of VX14's deck is how you're going to win. Oh, he actually goes wide.
Yeah, oh, it's 1 off the Sea Giant being played this turn, so... Ooh, nice pickup from VX14 here with that Voidwalker. So these juggles are super important right now. Picks off 1.
Pick off another one. No, it just puts a damage on the Violet Teacher.
And this young priestess,
brutal here.
The young priestess drop here too is so important.
Yeah. If Dart picks up a swipe here, his mulch is good.
Wow. That knife juggler's living this turn.
Well, it doesn't have to actually. You could just mulch the knife juggler if you just want to keep, the plan that you've been doing the whole game.
I want you to think about whether mulch knife juggler or the Mire Keeper.
Yeah, I mean,
I play right now.
I understand. I'm saying Dart's gonna think about it though.
I think he's thinking about Wild Growth, but yeah, the Mire Keeper is superior here. He's just getting Crystal? Interesting.
That might have been a misclick with his reaction.
Oh yeah, he did. He did kind of lean back his chair, like, "Oh no."
Yeah, I think he meant to make a 2-2. It does give him Emperor Thorson extra, but you're not really discounting anything.
So many.
Yeah, it just gives you 5/5, really.
Yeah. People forget about that. They're like, oh, I can play the Emperor. I'm not really discounting much, but...
Oh my. This may have gone VX's way. Knife jugglers. They're changing games. Push that.
At least they're not 3-2s anymore.
You know he's trading.
Oh,
the
come on now.
X14, don't dare do it.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh. It's
your
free.
reaction.
He's just giving it to you.
Yeah, that's what to say. Just take your 2 damage. I mean, this game looked pretty bad for VX14 over the first 4 turns. I mean, there was a turn 1 Violet Teacher that stuck around until turn 4. And now we're in a spot where VX14, he's not that bad off anymore.
I mean, honestly, the Doom Guard's looking pretty appealing here.
Okay, so if you Doom Guard and trade here, and then 5 Dart's face, the worst that happens is Wrath plus Development, but if it's something like Swipe, there's not a whole lot Dart can do in addition to that with the way this game's gone.
Yeah, so Swipe is what I'm thinking about right now, where if he plays the Doom Guard, I think you abuse the Sergeant to flame it to trade rather than use the Doom Guard body. Because you're paying 2 health to kill the Emperor versus paying 5 health to kill the Emperor. So that's like a really important thing to take note of here. He's actually just going to take it slow with the life tap.
Yeah, I don't like that as much as I definitely like I like making this play and having a 5/7.
Yeah, if you were going to do this anyway, get that Doom Guard online.
I think I'd Crazy Alchemist my Abusive Sergeant here for sure. Play around Swipe just a little bit. If we're going to make this play, we have to develop with our Crazed Alchemist, but I like just pushing more damage that turn with a that was a terrible draw for Dart.
Well, I'll tell you what, when your opponent is going to have the old Wild Growth turn 7, this play does look a little bit better from VX. Now he gets to land Sea Giant, and that's probably going to wrap things up.
I would be tempted to Wild Growth here as well, by the way, just in case you draw Yogg.
No way.
I mean, it's going to come down to Yogg in this game. You think he needs card draw? He's not going to even make it to turn 10 where it's going to matter. He's going to be dead.
Well, the mulch will buy him a turn. So this is sketch.
Get in there and fight, maggot.
Yeah, but I like the abusive placement. If he lands a juggle, trade the 1/2. If he doesn't land a juggle, trade the Crazed Alchemist. Sea Giant on board. This is the juggle. Mulch going to be really important here. Hey, Violet Teacher's not bad.
Yeah, Violet Teacher, Druid of the Claw, a lot of the cards that he was looking for here. Anything impactful.
I'm ready to learn.
Wild Growth probably too valuable to just pay 1 mana to draw an extra card next turn just to get the extra 1/1 here. I don't think it's good enough. Gonna pick off this 2/1.
That's a Tony.
Wow, that is Archmage, Antonitis, and VX14's.
If the X draws a power overwhelming, I fear for the gods.
I saw the 1. And I was excited for a second. Is that a cat?
He's gonna need that 9th life because it's not working out this game.
For a second there, I was like, what is Dart doing? I couldn't tell what it was. I was like, is he putting on a leopard print shirt?
Dart,
Alright, he's got word from our admin. Nobody panic. Cat was confirmed.
That's a nice juggle.
And the juggle's been pretty on point for VX14 this game. He'd even try to protect his juggler this turn if he wants as a defender of Argus.
There's not a chance Autonomous Juggler.
Yeah.
Board of 2/2s.
Alright, Yogg, where are you at?
Hey. Maybe a glimmer of hope.
Right, so he can't remove any of the power off the board, though. So can he live through this with just 2/2/2 taunts? If 2/4/6 gets through, plus the
that's it.
You know, it's the Archmage Antonitis isn't going to be able to do anything this game, but I wonder if Dart's going to notice it gets discarded. Oh,
does he Dash Swipe? I mean, that's
Dash Swipe's actually really good here, right?
I think this is desperation time. This is like almost. I mean, this is the spot. This is it. You play that Scenarios, you're going to 4.
If you hit the swipe, actually, you can live through the next turn.
He's going for it. I like it. No dice. So, 2 games apiece.
Picks up a spell, but not the one he needs.
Yep. The X14 ties it up. Doesn't even need the help of Uncle Tony. And so, it's the same way we've seen last series. So, it went 2 games, and then 4-2 for Battle Frog in this one. And Dart, I still think he's got the advantage in this. I fear for Priest. I mean,
yeah,
the masses have spoken on this one. I mean, I feel like you're not just figuring something out that other people don't know at this point. Like, you literally, like, thousands and thousands of people have worked to try to make one of these lists function. Yeah. And again, versus other control decks, it's fine. But in all the other matchups, Priest is just like this ragtag crew of cards that's hoping to get the job done.
I mean, you're having thousands and thousands of people play hundreds and hundreds of games of this class. The thought that you might find something new is a little strange. That you might I found the Priest deck that works. I found the mythical unicorn Priest deck.
All right, we're going for Dragon Warrior for Dart and Yogg Token Druid for VX14. That's a double Wild Growth Innervate Violet Teacher hand for VX, but that's a Fiery Warnock's Ravaging Ghoul for Dart. So the way this develops is going to be super important.
That is a big Sir Finley.
That's a life tap. Buckle in, boys. This game is going to be a doozy.
Lot of different ways you can sequence this. I find that these are the hands that like really separate Druid players in certain matchups, and it looks like he's just gonna go for turn 1 Violet Teacher. You know what? Dart kind of turn 1 Violet Teacher. It's only fair that VX14 gets one as well.
Yeah, Dart's hand pretty well equipped to handle this though.
Sir Finley just chilling out on the side of the screen.
Trying to hide.
He was looking. That was a sweet looking attack from over there. He just came darting in from the side.
It's an ambush.
I'm ready to learn.
Ravaging Ghoul here, looking good.
He was out there looking for an adventure. Yeah, this is a really good Ravaging Ghoul here. VX14 not happy, and I think Nathan heard me kind of bemoaning this earlier today. They just always have the Ravaging Ghoul every time it's good.
Yeah, Dart searching for that dragon too. I mean, if he picks up a dragon, this hand is going to be savage.
The land serves me.
Yep, still going to get value off of this War Axe. Oh, there's the dragon he talked about.
Yep. That fairy dragon's definitely not coming down this turn.
Yeah, there's no way you play this dragon here, Dart.
What?
Oh, wow, I'm very surprised by that play.
Dart, you have 2 Blackwing Corruptors in hand. You take that back. I wonder why he did this.
He's obviously because he knows he's drawing a dragon next turn, Nathan. You just have to believe.
This is a big gamble from Dart here. I mean, he's got maybe like 8 dragons left in the build.
Because you know he's playing this Blackwing Corruptor next turn. Like as a tempo play.
Yeah, I mean, you know you're playing the Blackwing Corruptor.
Yeah. Very interesting. VX14 is talking to himself. He's so bewildered by what's going on.
I honestly don't know if the Swipe or the Mire Keeper is better. The Mire Keeper, I think, is a little bit better because when you see Azure Drake and Blackwing Corruptor next turn, which, I mean, you're almost certain to see at this point, well, they're going to be a beating. Even just the 5-4 is going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I kind of just like Mire Keeper make a 2-2, honestly.
Yeah, then swipe the following turn, clean up the Ravaging Goal left over.
Yeah, you can pick. You know, there's Blackwing Corruptors in this deck, and you can get some really good swipes.
So that the lack of dragon here now can give VX14 some information about the remainder of Dart's hand. But the problem is the 5-4 is just, it's good, and it's really good.
It just punches you in the face for a lot of damage.
New Booty Bay Bodyguard. New Booty Bay Bodyguard.
Yeah, exactly.
Dart's still searching for that dragon. There it is. That's a big one.
Yeah, very timely pickup.
And honestly, Dart is so far ahead at this point, I don't think it even matters much if he decides to attack face or if he decides to attack minion.
I'd be very tempted to attack face here. I don't like missing out on 5 damage too much.
Yeah, he's going to go for the 2-2. If you're making the 2-2, definitely attack the minion. Start supporting the board pressure. And this Azure Drake needs something good. Not it.
Yeah. You can use Savage Roar as kind of a removal spell here this turn. Take care of this 5-2. That way there is a slam in Dart's hand here, though, that's going to allow this 2-2 to trade for the Azure Drake. And then he gets to roll right into the Ragnaros turn.
Yeah,
Nathan's favorite card drawn by Dart here.
Twilight Guardian.
Is Deathwing still your favorite card, Nathan? It's up there for sure.
I don't know. I think Ragnaros has taken over. Deathwing was cool when no one used it.
Yeah.
It's still pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. It's like, don't you say anything bad about Deathwing. You take that back.
Yep.
He can hear you.
Dart's playing the Kor'kron Elite here to try to hunt for the split lethal here. Just to play the Ragnaros and have it be no matter what it hits, it's going to be something valuable. Not only that, but he's sending his opponent to 11 with 9 power on board. VX14 responds with board tension. And that is going to come pretty darn close to just sealing it up.
Now, he can't do like the trade, play Ragnaros, get 50-50 on ending the game, or kill your minion and the game's probably, kill your minion and the game is probably over as well from there, because these do leave behind 2-2s.
Yeah,
so
but he has 33% to win this turn, so
I think he's pretty much 100
straight to the dome. Pretty much 100%. Just get very casually. It's pretty much 100% here. Dart with a 3-2 lead. Now, VX14, he's going to have to win with Druid, and he's going to have to win with Priest. And Dart has got his own Druid build left. So can that Priest fend off a game here versus Dart's Druid? The mirror match, it can go either way. But that Priest one, again, I'm still concerned with it. But we've been seeing VX drop games with every build except the Warlock at this point now. I'm sorry, except for the Paladin at this point now.
Yeah, I mean, the Paladin's actually looked really good for him over the last few games that I've seen of him play with this. And it's done some real good work. I'm just like you, the Priest deck, I mean, all of its removal spells are very conditional. It's like, this does something for 2 or less. This does something for 5 or more. This gets stuff at 3 or less. And if you don't have the right one at the right time, like if you just draw one of the the ones that kill small minions when you're getting pressured by a big minion, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, conditional removal, I think, is definitely a soft spot for that one. So off to the races for Game 6. Dart has got Raven Idol, Wild Growth, Violet Teacher. Is Wild Growth greater than Innervate? Innervate's a card that is so good versus the quicker matchups, but it's not quite as good against the decks that want to have like really heavy curve pressure here. So the Wild Growth is going to potentially push out the Mire Keeper as well. And VX14 is operating on a more fair curve here. He's got one real big turn with the Innervate. And this is, honestly, that draw, that could really change the way this works out. Because now I'm eyeing like turn 3 Emperor Thaurissan. And then try to roll into the rest of this. So if that's the case, do you ever make the Power of the Wild token here to try to fight like a Mire Keeper, so that Mire Keeper Living Roots doesn't kill the Emperor? Maybe you get 2 ticks out of it.
That's actually a really good point. I think if you're planning on playing the super powerful draw here, like of Emperor Thaurissan, you have to make a 3-2 here. Like you said, you got to challenge a Mire Keeper. But, I mean, there's been so many interesting lines that VX14 could take here, and I'm kind of surprised with the Violet Teacher, because he had the option to Violet Teacher the turn before this, and then followed up with Power of the Wild if he really wanted to get aggressive. And if you just are going to innervate this turn, you can innervate out a Mire Keeper to get the Mana Crystal and kind of keep up with Dart at that point, and your hand is very powerful as well. So a lot of different ways you could play this.
It's going to work out very nicely.
Wow.
Wrath's a big pickup. Dart is going to be way behind. That Yogg is about... I mean, I don't want... I'm calling it this early. The Yogg is going to be the way that Dart wins this game if he wins. He might not even get to that point, too. This is massive pressure.
Yeah, because like Swipe's not even good enough anymore here. You would have been able to use Swipe Hero Power, but now you can't. And yep, you're going to have Violet Teacher, Raven Idol. Starfall's not a bad one here. Help clean this up next turn a little bit. Oh, there's Starfall. I think you have to take this one.
I mean, the Naturalize. You could Naturalize the Violet Teacher and end this pressure right now. The problem is he gets 2 extra cards in VX's hand. And if Yogg's going to be the way you win this game, are you concerned with how many cards your opponent's drawing? This is tough.
Yeah, what's the best way for you to get to turn 10 here? You're already at 6 mana. You only have to live 4 more turns. What's the best way? Is Starfall too slow? You might be right.
I mean, you're playing the Ancient of War next turn. Yeah, Naturalize.
He agrees with you. You know, after seeing that, after thinking about it, I think Naturalize is just the best way. You're going to play Ancient of War next turn. You have Living Roots and stuff, and possibly another spell that you draw.
Dart's at 2 mana ahead at this point, for Yogg. Like VX is hitting his 4 mana turn right now. Dart's hitting his 7 mana turn next turn.
By the way, Nathan, you're starting to really see the pressure on these guys. Look at Dart's reaction to these games. He can't even sit still, can't stay in his chair. He just doesn't even want to look.
I wonder.
Oy vey. VX doesn't choose to take out the Violet Teacher here. It's too much of a threat, I think. Like if he knew what was happening here, he would take this out, but it's just too much of a threat. And so now Ancient of War is going to come down, and VX doesn't have the mana to play the Sylvanas yet.
Yeah, he's just going to have to develop an Azure Drake and hope to draw maybe like, I don't even know what you're looking to draw now. Mulch? I mean, you're going to have a ton of damage on this Ancient of War as well, because it's going to trade into this Azure Drake.
Oh, baby.
You can innervate out Living Roots into scenarios here.
I think that's exactly what he's doing.
All right, he's going to leave the Living Roots in his hand. Maybe just take care of one of the 2/2s. I think that's fine as well. Yeah, this is actually better, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if VX14 can come back from this board. Well, he just picked up his own Yogg. If he finds an innervate...
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Dart. Honestly, I don't know how to sequence the tech. Dart needs to slow down. This is the hard turn. So figure out every iteration of the Sylvanas steals figure out which one favors you, then make your play. Because trading here, I don't think is unreasonable. If you don't trade and you just play the 5/10 and your opponent like hero powers your 5/5 attacks, and then that happens. So
he got he got it here. Scenario stayed green.
Yep. So in this iteration here, if Scenarios got stolen, Dart had
hero power. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty rough. But if it stole the 2/2 or if it stole the 5/1, he could hero power the 5/1 or he could just attack the 2/2. So again, he had plenty more time to think about this. I would like to see him go through more iterations of this still, because I don't know which one's best. And his job is to figure out which one's best right now.
All right, so VX14 can develop his own Ancient of War here to kind of put up another roadblock to give himself a chance to get to turn 10, but does he have to just develop more mana with a Mire Keeper here? If he does that, he can use Wrath to draw a card and kill this Ancient of War. So maybe that's where you start. You start off with Wrathing the Ancient of War. When you're at 27, you have a pretty high life total versus one card.
Yeah, at this point, you're looking at how do you suffer the least amount of damage to where you can actually recover this.
Nathan, I'm getting really excited. We might see dueling Yogs this game. Just so everyone at home knows, obviously I've got the count going in the game. It's 5 for each.
I just want to know which one's the devil and which one's Johnny.
Yeah. Run, boys, run.
I like the Emperor, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing as a Mire Keeper, but it's a must-kill target. It does allow you to Living Roots as well to turn to take care of the 5/1. And Dart has to trade into this Emperor. Well, he just have to trade into it now. Yeah. This allows you to push 10 damage, yeah.
I'll just keep you guys healthy. I think that's another really important thing of this.
Alright, so VX14 can now do Ancient of War this turn to help stem the bleeding a little bit. Let's see what else he's going to have, because he's got to have 2 more mana left over from here. Let's see if it's just going to be hero power. I don't think Vendril does enough here, though it does get you to 10 mana next turn. So, yeah, if you Vendril... What gets you to Yogg more likely? Do you Ancient of War as a 5/10 with Taunt, or do you just try to Yogg next turn?
I don't know.
There's a few cards that kill you. You're at 16, so Swipe doesn't do it. Swipe's only 15. No. Yeah, Swipe's only 15. Oh, it's a 9 mana Yogg. Yeah, he just gets it next turn. What am I talking about?
It's not a good draw. It's a really bad one.
You just have to Yogg here?
No way. You have the board.
I always think you Yogg, Nathan.
The 3/2 is kind of interesting. I wonder if buffing's ever better here.
Keep your guy out of Wrath range.
This is only a 6-point Yogg for VX, though.
Yeah, but I mean, what else is he going to do?
I don't think that like, Vandrel, Wrath, and Mire Keeper's off the menu here.
That's true.
Wow, he's just going to go for the Yogg. Oh
no.
Oh,
that's
no.
not good. Could hit the 3/2, that would have been good. Alright, Shadow Strike.
Oh no,
Either killing
oh no,
Yogg.
oh no.
Yogg. Oh no. What secret was that? Oh no, the Scenarios is bigger!
How does that hat fit on Scenarios' head? Look at those antlers. Alright, check for the Vaporize.
Yep. Is that a Paladin secret?
I believe it's a mage one.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's Vaporize.
Alright, a lot of cards here in the game.
Soul of Forest is basically one of them. I mean, how does Vix overcome this pressure? Mom, I won! Mom!
Yeah, there's just not enough mana to get all this done here.
Yeah, it's not there. I can't even think of like Druid draws that get him out of this.
Another Yogg and a bunch of interventions.
Just leave it behind 2/2s.
Yeah. I wanted to see the second Yogg, Nathan.
I concede.
Well, it's not going to happen. Dart's going to take the series 4 games to 2. Big start from him and a big finish. Doesn't even need the Yogg. That's a good feeling right there.
Yep.
When you have the Yogg and you don't need it, you're like, yes.
You have it there. You have the parachute just in case you fall out of the plane. You know, just in case something goes really wrong. You can just pull the cord and be like, Yogg, take the wheel. Let's see what happens. And it didn't even have to come down to it. And you know what? It's like you said. I feel that VX14's Priest kind of let him down in this matchup. You know, the Druid matchup, like you said, it's kind of like someone's going to win. You know, it's like whoever draws better, whoever Yogg's better, you're just going to win there. But the Priest deck kind of let him down a little bit in the matchup here. But, you know, he's not going home empty-handed.
Yeah, certainly not. $750 for his efforts this weekend. So pretty good showing. It's pretty rare you see people actually win with Priest. You know, Chalky comes to mind from DreamHack, and VX, you know, taking a third, fourth place finish here. It's pretty solid. But again, the Priest it's better suited for control than it is for, I think, the standard lineups that are out there right now. We've just seen him continue to dominate, and there's a very clear reason why. So Dart finding himself now 1 match away from securing that spot. He's going to have to take on Battle Frog if he wants it. Hopefully his Yogg does not create a Battle Frog for himself. So, quick break is coming up, but before we go to that break, we want to take this time to thank the sponsors who have made this event possible. GEICO, the title sponsor for the Hearthstone circuit in 2016, $60,000 in prizes being awarded. If you insure anything, and I mean anything at all, GEICO can save you money with that. Head over to the website, geico.onog.gg, and see exactly how much GEICO can save you with a free quote. While you're there, you can also enter to win a CyberPower Gamer Extreme 1000 PC. It's just free. They're just giving it to you. So head over there. Make sure you sign up for it for your chance to win it. Also, thanks to Video Game Voters Network, a grassroots network of gamers encouraging the esports community to get out there and vote in the 2016 election. They host a lot of contests, giveaways. So check out their website, videogamevoters.com, and to Razer. Our final match of the weekend is coming up. The circuit is coming to a close after this one, where we head over to PAX Prime for that major event. So don't go anywhere, guys. Our 8th finalists will be decided right after this. Welcome back to the One Nation of Gamers 2016 circuit, brought to you by GEICO. We're in the grand finals of feature number 5. One of these two players will find themselves at PAX Prime competing for their share of $25,000. I am Nathan. That's Arable Zamora, joined by the Tan and Grace, and it all comes down to this. 4 of the decks split exactly the same for these two players, the difference being the Mage for Battlefrog and the Rogue for Dart. For Battlefrog, we saw it was a Tempo Mage. He's had his Shaman band away. Dart has had his Warrior band away. It will just not come into play. Battlefrog says, no, get out of here, Dragon Warrior. I don't want to face you.
Yeah.
So we're at this spot. Who's got the advantage here in these two lineups? Because that Rogue, it's looking like it could be good, but Tempo Mage trounced Yo, It's Flow's Rogue. Now, granted, did get a timely draw, but that's part of the game there. I mean, who's got the advantage here and why?
You know what? I got to put a slight advantage to Dart, even though I picked Battlefrog to win the tournament. Dart he's got a lot of experience on his side. You know, he's been playing competitive Hearthstone for a very long time. As you said, jumps in and out of the scene, has a lot of school commitments that he has to do as well. But, you know, we've seen Battlefrog kind of get a little hasty in some of his play, possibly getting a little bit of nerves to him. But Dart had a little bit of nerves in the last match, but I think it was more like nervous energy. You know, he's like, I think I'm going to win this game. I think I'm going to win this game. You still have to just play 5 or 7 more turns. And, you know, you have to kind of contain yourself and make sure you make good plays. So I got to say, I think I give Dart a slight edge just because of the experience factor.
I could definitely see it. I am a little bit concerned for the Rogue build.
Yeah.
I'm always concerned with Rogue. I'm always concerned with Priest. Those are like always the ones I'm concerned with. It's like Rogue and Priest. It's just like the two classes I think I don't like.
Yeah.
Maybe
it always looks so good or so bad, like every time. You know, they're so polarized. Like sometimes you see a Rogue deck or a Priest deck, you're like, how does this deck ever lose with the draw they have? And then you see the other draw where they just don't do anything for 4 turns.
Yep. I totally agree. Get behind that. So for those of you just joining us, over the course this weekend, GSL-style bracket groups, 2 players from each group advanced in a best-of-5 conquest with a single ban. Once we got to the round of 4, best-of-7 conquest with a single ban, so that 5th deck was thrown in. Now that we're at the finals for these two, $3,000 to first, $1,500 to second, and of course that invite to PAX Prime. So a lot of cash on the line between these two as well. I mean, this is a big match for both of these guys.
Yeah, extra $1,500 in your pocket if you win, plus the extra EV, the extra expected value of getting to go to PAX Prime. Not just a free trip to Seattle into a sweet, sweet tournament venue, but you get to play for $25,000, Nathan, and the rights to call yourself the ONOG Circuit Champion. That's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty good field already there, too, as well. We're about to find the 8th player, and if you get to best that field, that's pretty good bragging rights for a long time, because you went through what might be one of the longest tournaments ever.
Yeah, I mean, the tournament, the way it's shaping up so far, I mean, we take a look at the people who have already qualified for it. Dog is in there. He won feature number 2. Aversiction's in there. He won the first feature that took place. Shoop won feature number 3. Frozen won feature number 4. Chalky and Phone Tap, they're number 1 and 2 in GEICO points, and Dakota was the victor over at PAX East for that qualification. So the field that's shaping up for there is very strong. I mean, players like Shoop, Dog, and Phone Tap have been super consistent in the ONOG series. You know, Dog's just been crushing Hearthstone for so long now. Aversiction, that's a really big qualification for him. You know, that's a player who's very strong, but he likes to experiment a lot, and so it holds back a lot of his ladder play. The fact that he experiments so much, so an opportunity to win a major for him, that's a really big deal. And so we're heading into game number 1 right now. It's Dart and the Shaman versus Battlefrog and the Zoo. Aggro build of Shaman for Dart with a copy of Lightning Storm in here. If Dart can find some value with that Lightning Storm, I think that's going to be a big key to his victory this game.
Yeah, one of the most important cards in the deck in his opening hand for this matchup. I dare say he might find value with it. I mean, with the hand that Battlefrog has here, he's got a lot of his 1 and 2 drops. His hand looks great. I mean, his hand looks amazing for early game here. But if he gets to kind of like run away with this game a little too much, he's going to get really punished by this Lightning Storm. That was a big draw.
Yeah, we'll be trading off the Possessed Villager here as well. Wants to make sure that if it's power overwhelming, that a minion leaves the board as a result of that. And Battlefrog will power overwhelming. Not really much of a question when he has the Flame to add alongside of this. So, early board for Battlefrog. And that Imp Gang boss, a really important pickup too. I mean, Lightning Storm is great at sweeping out little minions, but when you add an Imp Gang boss into there, Lightning Storm looks way worse.
100%. And you know what? He might not even need to Lightning Storm anytime soon. He's got some pretty good options next turn. He can Flame Wreath Faceless or Thing from Below next turn.
Yep, I gotta believe that Flame Wreath Faceless is gonna be the pick here. Oh, does pick up Doomhammer though.
Well, I mean, this still rolls into Lightning Storm really well next turn. Like, let's say Battlefrog just ignores the Flame Wreath Faceless and pushes a bunch of damage this turn. You can Lightning Storm there. Now, Corruption off of Dark Peddler is a big one here. No Corruption to be found. You can, if you find Corruption there, you can just ignore the 7/7 there, play Corruption, develop your board a little more, push some damage, and move on with life. But now this is a really, really Lightning Stormable board.
Oh my. Suffering a lot of damage for it, but this is exactly the situation that Dart needed.
Look at the look on Dart's face. He knows it too. He's going to run right into this Imp Gang boss, and there's going to be a 1/1 left on this board. And when you see that attack, if you're Battlefrog, yeah, he knows. Like, when you see that attack, yep, I'm about to get Lightning Stormed.
Both of them have, like, this most smug smile on their face, too. Dart's like, this is exactly why I put this in here. And Battlefrog's like, yeah, that's exactly why he put that in there.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where you're like, yep, I'm a genius. As you play the Lightning Storm, as you just click on it and you slowly drag it onto the board, you're like, I'm the best.
Well, Doomguard, I think, is probably the play here. I mean, Battlefrog, his win condition at this point is just hoping that enough damage ends up pushing through. Whoa, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Not sure about that as well.
I think I would like to see Dart roll the totem here first and maybe evaluate afterwards. I mean, if he knows that no matter what the totem, he's not going to Rockbiter, different story, but...
Well, and he knows he's getting the taunt totem, so...
Imp Gang boss comes down. And this Doomhammer, I think this closes it out.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of damage saved up in his hand, too. I think he has to make sure that none of the crazy backdoor stuff happens here in this game, but making both of these Tunnel Trogs 3/3s here, getting to push 6 damage, remove some of the board from Battlefrog. I think, I think there's a concession here.
Yeah, Battlefrog scoops it up. I mean, what's even the point at this point? I mean, look at the board state. Look what fell into. That Lightning Storm was huge for Dart, and so quick game number 1 from him. I have a feeling this series is going to continue at this pace as well. These guys are playing very fast. They're both feeling it. I honestly, it feels to me like Battlefrog does not really have a concern for the results of this one. He's playing his game the way he always plays, and that's a good mindset to be in. But you know, overall, I'd like to see Battlefrog slow down just a little bit. You know, in that game there was nothing he could do about it. It was shackled. He played the right way. But at the end of the day, if you play at that speed, you're eventually going to miss something.
No, I 100% agree with you. That's something that happens to a lot of people when they set a goal for themselves. They're like, I just want to top 8 this tournament, or I just want to, you know, make it into the elimination rounds. That a lot of times they just lose early in the elimination rounds because, you know, subconsciously they're like, I've already achieved my goal. You know, like, what else do I have to do? What more do I need? And it's like, well, you could win the whole thing. That's an Argent Squire here in the Rogue build. Maybe really anticipating some of these aggro decks that we've seen out of a lot of these players here in this top 4, and you can help him battle for this board a lot earlier.
Yeah, Argent Squire kind of crept into some of the Rogue builds recently. It is a one of, but it does help fight against some of the board-centric matchups that are out there, and against some of the slower decks, Cold Blooding and Argent Squire is a real thing.
I was about to say that. When you can make it a 5/1, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, SI7 Agent Backstab lines up very nicely here.
This is why you put these cards in your deck for situations like this. You just keep taking the board away from the Druid player. They keep playing one threat at a time. You keep dealing with it and pushing damage the whole time. This Argent Squire is going to get in a lot of damage in this game.
Yeah, but I'd like to see him start attacking with this dagger as well. I mean, the way that this game is panning out, you're going to end up playing the Tomb Pillager and Prep Eviscerate if another threat comes out. If not, you're just going to be redaggering. So I'd really like to see him start pushing with this dagger.
Nathan, we might see another early AUG here from Battlefrog in this game.
I mean, he's going to have to.
He's only at 2 spells so far, but he does have 2 more in his hand. Now, he did pick up some good cards. Picked up Emperor Dorson, Dark Arakoa here, but yeah, I was going to say Swipe has got to be on the menu here. Pair this with Living Roots, and you can take care of some of this board. There's just a 1/1 left over. If he even wants to, he can clear this 1/1.
Yeah, he's not going to. Wants that Innervate.
Yeah, a little more value to be had from it later.
I wonder if Dart's ever looking at that Cold Blood.
There's just so many good answers out of the Druid deck. You know, if you only get 5, I mean, if you're going to get 10 out of it, like the Druid for sure has to use its hero power, then for sure you Cold Blood. But cycling a Wrath there just feels so bad for you. He might be checking for Yogg next turn. Wild Growth Mulch this turn.
Well, I mean, he does have the board, like, not in the worst position ever. It's getting a little bit scary. Wow, goes to the Mulch.
We've seen some pretty good ones so far today. Uncle Tony comes to mind from happening earlier. Booty Bay Bodyguard, you mentioned him earlier.
Well, Dart just plays it naturally in the dragon build, so.
Yeah, getting a little grin. Booty Bay Bodyguard, one of those cards that's just been kind of made fun of since the the beginning of Hearthstone. Oh yeah, let's get in there, Booty Bay.
Yeah, but he's going to use both points here. Yeah, I mean, the game plan here for Dart is simply the tempo at this point. Auctioneer would be a fine draw, but I don't think he necessarily needs it to win this game.
Yeah, he's still got a few spells in his hand too. It's not like he needs to draw 8 cards off Auctioneer. 2 or 3 will be fine. Yes, Sinister Strike sitting here waiting for one of these big taunts that you fully expect to play against this turn if your board doesn't just get removed.
Yeah, well, Raven Idol could yield some decent results here. Well, I'm interested. I wonder if Feral Rage is the play here.
Yeah, just gaining 8 life or removing a minion at some point is pretty good. You get a lot of options from this. It adds to the Yogg count too.
Yeah, Battlefrog's trying to craft a plan right now. Well, if he's doing that, he's definitely going for the Yogg. I'm kind of curious. He's been holding back this Emperor for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
That's a good one. It's going to be flashbacks of the Miracle days here.
Yeah, we're going for the prep fist rage. I probably.
I was going to say, the other Cold Blood comes in. Is this lethal? This is.
No, it's not lethal yet, but I mean, it almost is. I mean, he's got Leroy Eviscerate from hand with a sap. This is really bad. I mean, Battlefrog now actually has to Yogg this turn, and so Living Roots Innervate Yogg to add a little bit to it. It's a blessing, but...
Oh, Dart's camera just fell off the back of the computer, I think. Oh, no, he's showing the cat. The cat is up on the television. The cat has got a bird's eye view.
I'm way more interested in this Yogg, Dart.
Yeah.
No offense.
Cats on the internet, they're pretty great, Nathan.
Yeah, did you see how that movie turned out? Did you see that 5% on Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah. I think he just looked at his face, honestly.
Yeah, I actually kind of think about it as well. All right, so we're at a 10 count Yogg. Here we go. 11 count Yogg. Spin the wheel. Mulch, okay. As long as it doesn't hit Yogg.
Well,
hit the 1/1. Not the best.
Okay, Farsight.
Oh, Wrath is free now.
Hunter Secret, not bad. It depends. I mean, it depends on what that Hunter Secret is, but
yeah, Battlefrog's waiting to see. He's got to wait as long as he possibly can to Entomb. Mortal Strike if this hits one of the other minions. Oh boy. Commanding Shout. Okay, he draws another card. He has 3 Fendrils in his hand.
Well, he ripped the Wrath, and it didn't work out. So Dart has to fend off a Hunter Secret. Wow, that Hunter Secret could really change some stuff.
Yeah, if this is Explosive Trap, that's really scary. It just kills your Auctioneer. It kills your Leroy as well.
Okay, so lead him to Shadow Strike. Yeah, I think that Battlefrog's out of this one. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, we're being told it's misdirection though. Sorry for spoiler alert there. Sorry for ruining the surprise for people, but.
Yeah, there's no way out of this.
Yeah, there's no crazy brand stuff that can happen. There's no crazy Fendril stuff that can happen.
Yeah, he's just dead. Dart's got everything. Yogg did not produce. As it so often does not.
The Ancient One calls.
but at the same time so often does. Going to go for what he can. But bad news is on the horizon. Dart going to take game 2. It's a bad matchup for Battle Frog, that's for sure.
Yeah, Sap's going to go ahead and just clean this up here. All that's left is playing the Leroy.
I am ready to learn.
Yep, so we'll check for what looks like everything.
Yeah, check for Snake Trap, do some attacks.
It's not Snake. Okay, so
Alright.
it's not freezing.
Well, what happens here if the 1/1 kills the Auctioneer, if he attacks with the 1/1 into face? Like,
Doesn't matter. It's a Leroy double vis, right?
yeah.
Well, I guess he only has one prep, but it's still enough to do it though. Even if he kills the Auctioneer, because Leroy eviscerates 10 and then 3 from the Violet Teacher. So there's the misdirection. Dart takes game 2. Boom. All right, so easy game for Dart in this one. But again, that's the way that Cthulhu Druid rolls. Rogue is certainly strong versus decks that try to just have these massive end game plans, unless they can just amass so much life that you can be out of range with it. So there's like a couple of situations where like Control Warrior can get completely out of range, but for the most part, you end up just getting so much pressure going that your opponent can fend off the first wave, but they can't fend off the burst afterwards. And that's one of the reasons why fighting the Rogue is best done with either massive aggression or with just a big combo deck of your own, like Freeze Mage. So Dart not able to, Battle Frog not able to take that game number 1, and so now Dart is left with Warlock, a Zoo Warlock, and with Yogg Token Druid to fend off all of Battle Frog's lineup. And when you're up 2-0, that is got to be a good feeling. I mean, there's a bunch of cash on the line, the invites on the line. Dart has been looking so good in his sets.
Yeah, I mean, Battle Frog's in a must-win situation here. You cannot lose another game. If you get down 3-0, I mean, pretty much all hope is lost. Like you're never coming back from that spot almost ever. It's going to be real difficult here. Zoo pretty good against Druid traditionally, though I think it's becoming a little closer lately, as you said. But there's both Yogg and Cthulhu in this deck. There's a lot of really expensive minions, so his hand could get clogged up in a lot of ways here.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, speaking from being up 3-0 in the finals of feature events.
I didn't want to say it, Nathan.
To
I didn't want to say it. Yeah.
Getting your Zoo swept by Eversiction's lineup. It's the chance is still there.
Yeah. You know, as I said it, I started thinking, I was like, oh man, Nathan lost one of these and he was up 3-0 in the finals.
Yeah. In the very, very first one that happened. It was really cool.
Yeah. I remember I was in a Skype call or a Skype chat with Eversiction at the time, and he was like, down 3-0, rip boys, and then hour later he's like, we did it. And I didn't know how I felt because, like, you know, Eversiction was a teammate of mine at the time. I was very happy for him, but I was like, man, I feel kind of bad for Nathan.
Well, it is what it is. Battle Frog with some interesting options. I honestly don't think the Voodoo Doc looks that bad here.
Yeah.
Oh my. I'm taking Living Roots.
Yeah.
Snap call. Let's coin it out. No, coin it out!
Buying or selling.
I'll get a little bit more value.
No way to take care of the Svendrel. It's going to stay on the board now. Jeez, this is looking scary if you're Dart. This is the power of the Druid deck. I mean, there's some starts that just are not beatable out of this deck.
Yeah, I mean, double innervate's certainly one that comes to mind. Now, that being said, Dart has a similar hand that VX had with Knife Juggler. The Knife Juggler is a way to come back in this matchup. There's a lot of heavy stuff in Battle Frog's deck. He's off to a really early lead, but Knife Jugglers can take over the board. Now, this one in particular is going to be tough, because if Battle Frog picks up any more of the Choose One effects, or really just anything to stick to the board in the next couple turns, it's going to be incredibly difficult. But honestly, I think that Dart's just got to jam out the Darkshire Councilman to try to take out these 1/1s with it, and hope to isolate that Fandral and get the juggles he needs. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is a card like that.
Any removal spell here is huge. Oh man, Sunwalker's big. Seal Master is big here. I have never seen Justicar in a Druid deck. I have never seen the enhanced Druid power in person.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's pretty good versus Zoo. Against Zoo, when you're taking out 2 health stuff instead of 1 health stuff, it's a big deal. But I think the Ascension's just going to be that much better. So it picks up another
swipe here as well too.
So it's going to be attack, and then I like it in the Fairy Dragon down personally. I think second 1-1 to get Fairy Dragon out and back it up with Ascension looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, he's contemplating using his hero power here, so he leaves over a 1-1, but I think just getting a 3-2 into play is a lot better than leaving yourself with a 1-1 here, especially when you have Ascension Shield Master in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, Battle Frog's, he is the Cthulhu build. You expend your resources to get to your big stuff. Well, in this matchup, he's actually gained resources by doing it. He's taken the board early. Getting this Fairy Dragon on board is exactly where he needs to be to start ensuring this. And Dart, he feels he's relegated to the double knife juggler this turn, which I kind of agree with.
Picks up a second swipe here, so it's going to be really hard for Dart to get back in this now. All of his minions were checked for pretty much the rest of the game. He even picks up the Forbidden Ritual now, has no knife jugglers left to take care of this now. Mortal Coil does take care of Findril here, but...
I mean, it's just going to go downhill from here.
Yeah, he's got
to fade swipes. He's got to fade swipes, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, if you're Battle Frog, you gotta love seeing this.
What a great start from Battle Frog.
Yeah, and he needed this game bad.
Well, double innervate will do it.
We've seen a lot of crazy innervating going on today in the top 4. Just Druid doing Druid things.
Who would have known innervate was one of the best cards in that game?
You know, that was one of the cards people talked about, like them possibly changing for standard is to change Druid up. But I think the class would just be like nowhere near as good without it, obviously.
Cthulhu is at 6/6 right now, so that Twin Emperor not active at the moment.
Still might just be good enough. But yeah, it's hard to pass up one swipe here, yeah. Hard to pass up one swipe, clear the board. But I mean, even just next turn, just like playing Twin Emperors, if you draw another brick, is still pretty good.
Battle Frog's cleared the board every turn. Like, how does the deck win when that happens?
You don't, Nathan. Zoo just gives it up at that point. Well, he could draw a removal spell here. There's a Soulfire. I mean, you get a 50-50 on keeping your Sea Giant here. Alright. Sea Giant can come down next turn if one minion is played here. So if, yeah, I was going to say Ragnaros gets played, Hero Power, you get an 8/8.
Yeah, it's not quite Ragnaros, but it is by the power of him. So at 15 for Dart, and the Sea Giant's just not going to be enough. Like, Battle Frog's at 29. He's pushing damage.
Oh, can't use the power overwhelming as
it's foregoing the life tap.
Here, yeah.
Honestly, the 6/6 Cthulhu might be enough.
Yeah.
It's definitely Nourish. Yogg.
Picks up Yogg too. Well, Cthulhu Chosen is going to add 2 power to this Cthulhu. It's up to 8 now. Living Root's going to take care of this Dark Peddler. Going to push 5 damage. Dart is down to 10 now, facing down a very scary hand here from Battle Frog.
Dart is donezo.
Yeah.
Crazed Alex swap Sea Giant. I think I would like to see him swap the 4/2.
Yeah.
That was torture. Doesn't get that last juggle, but he didn't need it. He's got hero power, and there's 5 coming in. Battle Frog picks up an easy game number 3, and again, very much needed. This was really a must-win game. I mean, being down 3 games to 0 is nigh insurmountable at this point. But the Druid picking up a big win here over Zoo, really important. Not only that, because I think that Battle Frog's Druid is going to suffer a lot versus Darts. You know, the token Druid gets off to some really, really disgusting starts at times, and you're left with Cthulhu Druid's kind of operating on a more fair curve, and that's a situation you don't really want to be in. Not only that, but Dart's got some really significant endgame as well. I mean, he's got the 2 Ancient Wars, he's got Cenarius in his build. You're not even necessarily favored, even if you kind of go toe-to-toe with him, just depending on how the Soul of Force and Savage Roar can work together to deliver those big endgame pushes. So getting that Druid out of the way, I think, was really important for him. But so 3 more games to go for Battle Frog in this one, and Dart looking for 2 wins. I'm feeling this set is going to go the same way as our last 2 have, where it's 2-2 apiece. I'm feeling it.
Absolutely, and you know what? I actually like a lot of what Battle Frog's got left over. You know, the Zoo deck is pretty decent against what Dart's got left. His Tempo Mage is good against what Dart has left. So not even a panic mode when he's down 2-0 there. As long as you get that win out of the way, you don't want to be down 3-0. But getting that win was so important. And now, I mean, like, a decent bit of your matchups are pretty good.
Yeah, and it's a very heavy hand for Dart from the get-go. We'll see if Battle Frog can take advantage of this.
Get it out! Get it out!
Possessed Villager on 1 and pass. I wonder if you look at that and go, do I dig?
Yeah, I mean, I would at least consider cycling a Wrath here, just trying to find a Wild Growth, trying to find a Keeper of the Mire, just something to kind of get my hand unlocked.
Yeah, it's going to be Coin Imp Gang. Well, I think it's going to be Coin Imp Gang. Yep.
I do like the pace of play that Battle Frog's been playing at here in this finals as well. We talked about today that he seemed to kind of YOLO, I guess is the way to put it, in a lot of situations earlier. And I really like that he's like really thinking through his plays here, really taking his time. I mean, they're playing for a ton of money in a seat at Pax Prime, so don't blame the guy at all.
Dark content with taking it slow. See if Battle Frog can turn up the heat. Oh, we're starting with the life tabs, so Battle Frog also taking it slow. Nice pickup on the Defender of Argus. That allows for some much more clean trades. Looking at like Fandral, Violet Teacher, Mire Keeper, they're all weak to Defender of Argus right now.
Dark's Druid is still at 27 now, and this Mire Keeper just naturally rolled into an Emperor Thaurissan that's happening next turn, and this hand is a pretty good one to discount. So,
whoa, we're not going with
Defender of Argus?
Defender of Argus here? I don't know about this, Battle Frog. That's the hard card to use.
Yeah, it's harder to find really good, clean uses of Defender of Argus in this matchup than some other ones, and Abusive Surge is just always good. Also, I mean, it uses your mana better. You get more options later by keeping the 1-drop in your hand.
I don't know if it's really that consequential this game, honestly. There's the trade on the Emperor.
He's going to be able to push a ton of damage this turn as well. It's 7 more into Dart, but now Dart's hand's kind of unlocked. He's got these 1-mana Wraths to help take care of some stuff. He's got a 6-mana Ancient of War. He can even use Violet Teacher plus a bunch of spells this turn. Oh boy. Whoa.
That's a full board. And Dart, the only thing that has to happen now is save off the damage. Violet Teacher, Wrath, into Power of the Wild. Take out the Direwolf Alpha, take out the Flame Imp. You're looking at 3 damage with a full board.
Oh yeah. That was a huge draw, Nathan.
That was disgusting. I mean, I'm curious if Cenarius could actually just end the game next turn if the board state's not taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, Battle Frog's going to get to probably utilize his Defender of Argus a little well this turn. So Cenarius might not be able to end it, but it's going to put a hurt on the board of Battle Frog here. We might be seeing a 3-1 for Dart. We might be seeing match point here very soon. That was such a huge top deck for Dart.
Yeah, I mean, that actually might have been the best card in the deck. I mean,
I think it was.
Like, even if this push fails, Dart can just reinforce this with the Ancient of War.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Crazy Alchemist can do something about that. That's actually really important, is that it's representing against Ancient of War effectively 5 damage. So, there's still some breathing room here, but that Violet Teacher, I mean, unless he uses Crazy Alchemist now, it's not getting taken care of. That's terrifying. I mean, when you're sitting on Battle Frog's side of the board, you look at this card and you go, if I don't take care of that, I could just die. When you're looking at it from overhead, it's way different.
Yeah, I think you just saw Battle Frog realize that too. You kind of saw him like grab the Crazed Alchemist for a second and then start to shake his head. Like, I mean, this is how I beat an Ancient of War. It's a really important card that I have to wait for in this matchup. But then what do I do if I don't? And he's running out of time.
And not only that, but if he crazed Alex, he's got to invest. I mean, there goes the Imp King boss. Mind Shield's gone. I mean, now the pressure's kind of been staved off here for Dart as well.
Yeah, now he can make a board of 4/4s if he wants, and I think you're going to make a board of 4/4s here and just crush this, and you see the laugh from Battle Frog, and yeah, he knows the writing is on the wall here. He's left with a single 1/1 and no really good options. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and scoop it up. I don't blame him at all. I don't see there any way coming back from this board state.
I mean, that's the Violet Teacher power there.
Yeah.
The Zudek's got to get pushing. Honestly, his life tap on turn 3, I don't like it. That's a matchup where you have to apply pressure, and hope that your opponent doesn't have the answers. It's not a matchup that comes down to the grind, because if you're going to try to outgrind the Druid, their deck is chocked full of giant cards at the end game, and 5/10 taunt versus your push damage deck is usually pretty good. And so in that situation, even as inefficient as it looked, I think the damage push was superior there than the extra card economy.
Yeah, he even has the soft answer to the 5/10 taunt there with the Crazed Alchemist as well. I mean, that was there from very early in the game. So, if something happens like an early innervate into an Age of War, you don't have to trade your whole board in and use a Power Overwhelming. You have the Crazed Alchemist to kind of make it a lot easier. So this leads us to match point. Dart is up 3-1 here, and he's just left over with Zoo. You got to feel pretty good when you don't have to win one game with Zoo versus 3
more
other
to
decks.
go. Well, it was his fifth choice, so that tells me that Dart may not be as comfortable.
You saved the best for last, Nathan.
That's definitely the way I want to do it during the group stage, where it's do or die time, literally right there. But yeah, I mean, the Tempo Mage, I don't think it's lining up very well versus Warlock, even though it's a lot better than it used to be when Haunted Creeper and Nerubian Egg were around. The Zoo matchup, that's anyone's game. And then the Warrior, it depends on how Battle Frog's Warrior is specifically built, because I think it's been banned every single time except for this one. So I'm still looking to see what his Warrior build actually is, I believe. So, I mean, it's a rough uphill battle from here, but, it starts with that first game. And so Dart looking to close this one out. And, again, $1,500 on the line. You got to win 3 straight. I mean, I agree with you, too, on the point you made where Battle Frog's slowing down his pace of play. He's kind of realizing the weight of the situation at this point, and that's also really important. But he played that game too slow. He needed to speed it up, and I would venture to say the next couple of games are going to have to be the same way. His aggressive pace of play is what needs to be. Not his speed of play needs to be fast, but the way that he's approaching the game plan needs to be a lot faster.
I mean, you can still go to rope every turn and just attack your opponent's face with all of your minions. You can take the full amount of 90 seconds to just go face with everything, and think out all your plays. But yeah, like you said, it's the actual way that he's playing. The role. Like, is he the beatdown in this matchup? Is he the guy that's trying to attack their face, or is he the guy that's trying to control the board? And I agree with you. I'd like to see him push just a little bit more in the last game.
So here we go. The Zoo mirror match, Battle Frog on attacker's advantage, but Dart has that Sea Giant in hand. Is Dart the kind of guy who's going to keep the Sea Giant and go for that big swing? Because that card is so good in this matchup.
It's a pretty good gamble, right? You're up 3-1. You have like one of the most important cards in the matchup, one of the best cards in the matchup. And if you get to land it, say, on turn 4, I mean, the game's pretty much over, right? And then the match is over. You get $3,000, and you get to take it to PAX Prime and play for $25,000. I'm a gambling kind of guy.
The rest of the hand's looking bad. So we know he's pitching away 3 cards. And if you're keeping Sea Giant and you draw bad, that's going to end it. He actually keeps Dark Peddler. That's really interesting.
We've seen some interesting Zoo play from Dart here in the top 4. So
I don't know if I like the Dark Peddler keep here. I mean, this is weak to every buff and every 1-drop minion in your opponent's deck.
No, I definitely agree with you. I'm not the biggest fan of keeping that here either. But Shifter's Eris, let's go.
Well, I could definitely see the Shifter playing a role this game.
Oh, it's the right play. It's the right take. And I will argue with you until I'm dead about that one.
Battle Frog going to match. I don't think the Power Overwhelming is looking very good at this spot. Honestly, I don't mind the Blood Imp here.
Yeah. You don't want Billy? You don't want Murloc Raider?
I'd like my Imp King boss to keep getting buffed is what I'd like.
Yeah, I know. He does pick up the Power Overwhelming, though. Oh, look, Sylvanas. If we hit 6 mana, great. A little bit of a tease, though.
It was actually a nice attack from Battle Frog to make sure that a buff couldn't wipe out this Voidwalker.
Yeah, I really like that bounce off of the Dark Peddler there.
Yeah, won't return. Ooh. Darkshire Councilman. I'm liking the Councilman. Councilman trade over this Dark Peddler.
Mm-hmm.
Councilman's protected from a big buff this turn. It's going to be a 2/5.
He's eyeing a Power Overwhelming here? Okay. He cares about the Imp King boss that much. That's understandable. It's such a big card in this matchup.
It really is, but the Councilman was looking so good.
Yeah, this does leave him with just a 1/1 on the other side of the board, but You're going to be left over just a 1-1 and a 2-1 after this.
Yeah, he's setting up the Defender of Argus better this way.
I guess, yeah. Just ensures that he's going to have 2 minions next turn for his Defender of Argus, though this play is pretty weak to Night Juggler.
It's a little weak to Darkshire Councilman and a minion, too, but...
Yeah.
So could Defender of Argus trade over that?
You want some toxins?
Cyril's looking pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, there's some pretty good toxins here, too.
I mean, are you really going to get better than Zero this turn? The Defender of Argus looks pretty miserable.
Yeah. That's the big point is, what is this Shifter Zerus going to be next turn and the next turn? Are you going to get better? Which one is that one? I'm a little...
Draw a card.
It's the draw the card one? Okay.
Yeah. King's Blood Toxin. So, not the best one, but still has a kill set up on Darkshire Councilman here. Unless that changes something, which Voidwalker definitely will. But, oh man, all these options are good.
Yeah, this is one of the better discoveries we've seen all day.
I'd like to see him get this Direwolf down as well.
Absolutely.
Voidwalker. Probably trade into the Zero, honestly. But actually, I take that back. You probably could trade into the Abusive here. I think either one is fine. This forces Dart to have a buff in this spot.
So you got Stealth and draw a card. Ugh.
Yeah, and suddenly this is looking really bad. And now the Councilman's stranded in his hand. Honestly, I don't know why he forwarded the Councilman here, because the Councilman would have presented a really big problem for Battle Frog, and he would have been able to roll into Defender of Argus the next turn and pretty much lock down the board. He would have forced Battle Frog to have to use Power Overwhelming, maybe and forego some development. Instead, he's finding himself in this spot where now he's way behind. Sure, he's got card advantage, but the development is where the real card advantage battle's fought here.
Yeah, I mean, he may have more actual cards, but Battle Frog has more real card advantage because his cards are on the board.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just Abusive Sergeant, Defender of Argus, and hope that can fend off the board.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, it feels bad, but I think that's one of the plays you have to make this turn.
Is he going to stealth this? Maybe stealth the 2-1.
Yeah, I guess he will. Yeah.
This is curious.
Yeah, you give the 2-1 stealth here? Yeah, I was going to say, because Councilman trades for everything. You're okay with it trading for 2 minions or 1 here. And then your Abusive Sergeant can kind of clean up mostly whatever's left over, but this Defender of Argus is going to put a pretty big wrinkle into that plan.
That Argent Squire was a nice draw. So we're killing the Darkshire Councilman, not a surprise. Defender of Argus hit the Direwolf Alpha and the Argent Squire, protects the Councilman. I think it's lights out. I think Dart just lost.
Yeah, that is going to be way too much for Dart to come back in this game. It looks like we're going to another game here. There's not going to be a 4-1 win.
I mean, he's facing down 16 points right now.
Yeah, this is it. It's over. Yeah, you can kill the Direwolf Alpha here, but it's not even that good.
Honestly, I think he needs to Power Overwhelming and kill the Direwolf Alpha.
Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 power in play. Any of the 4 damage cards or 4 damage bosses gets it done here, but I mean, this game's pretty much over anyway. I don't think you have to end it this turn.
I mean, how good is Zoo when Zoo doesn't have life tap anymore?
Yeah.
If you do not push this Darkshire Councilman face, Battle Frog, we have a problem.
Yeah. He's just going to make a couple of minions, make it to 11 here.
Yeah, I think he's debating trading in the Direwolf Alpha as well. Is he really going to hold off on the Forbidden Ritual? Whoa, that's weird. Uh-oh. Dart could... I mean, Dart might be able to climb back into this now. I don't understand not playing the Forbidden Ritual here.
Oh, yeah, this was a huge draw here.
Draw that card, Dart.
Yeah, use your Toxin, draw a card.
That one's dead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a pretty blank of a draw.
Well, I mean, Defender of Argus
Defender Vargas push 3. I guess you don't. I guess you do trade. Ugh.
Well, you can't trade. Just play the direwolf this turn. But I mean, the board pressure's stopped.
It was the last minion. I thought maybe you would just push.
Oh my.
That's a lot of tentacles.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's not going to do it. Going to 6.
Defender Vargas in his deck.
Hey,
yep.
that helps. Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is he's got to keep the board checked the rest of the game.
I'm trying to think of draws that he can get to get him out of this. If he goes Sea Giant into Defender Vargas, it's possible here. I mean, this does buy him a ton of time here, getting to trade the power toughness on his Direwolf Alpha.
Oh, if he plays that, that's not going to work.
Yeah, he's going to die to this Crazed Alchemist if he plays that.
He won't die quite yet, but I mean, that's... I mean, maybe he will now. He did that, so... Flips the Direwolf back. Oh, yeah, that's going to seal it. Yep. Battle Frog seals game number 5. It begins.
Here starts the comeback, yeah.
If Dark traded off a minion there, did he live? Nope, still took 3. So,
yeah, that's the Defender Vargas was too much, yeah.
It's another good win for Battle Frog. One step closer, and the tension mounts. Hey, I mean, I'm feeling nervous if I'm in Dart's C right now, where I'm like,
oh yeah,
what just happened?
Yeah.
Did I sequence this wrong? I mean, I really don't understand foregoing the Councilman in that one, because you're getting such a big health minion on board, and you're forcing your opponent to have a buff to answer it, which Zoo's full of buffs. But part of the principle there is that when your opponent has to focus on one minion, it's going to leave something behind, and then that's giving you the opportunity to return trade favorably and go on from there. So it's going to be Dart's Zoo Lock versus Battle Frog's Dragon Warrior.
You know, I 100%
Dragon in hand.
I 100% agree with you, Nathan, and I definitely put it a little bit different there, but look, there's no dragon in this hand from Battle Frog yet, but if he draws one, this hand is really good.
And Ravaging Ghoul is going to help as well.
Yeah.
So, Fiery War Axe, the bane of many Zoo decks.
Alexstras's Champion is really good in this matchup as well.
Yep, and this is going to be Ravaging Ghoul. You have a 1-1 behind.
This is a really good Ravaging Ghoul here, too. There's a dragon, yeah. Oh, man, I think it's early, but I think we're going to Game 7.
This is going to be rough. Yeah. Now, 2 Dart Peddlers can definitely help change some things here. Dart Peddler is a very important card in this matchup, just being able to find tools that you can eventually utilize. Those are not tools that you can really utilize that well.
Yeah, I was going to say, any buff is welcome here. These, however, these aren't the greatest. Maybe you pick up Corruption to kill something later, like one of the big dragons, but it just takes Billy. Oh, Billy.
Get it out! Get it out!
This is going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I've already called it. I'm standing behind it. We're going to a Game 7.
How does Dart restabilize this game? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way.
Well, every little bit helps. Possessed Villagers stick around for a bit. So Battle Frog is going to be repopulating the board here, it looks like. I'd like to see Dark Peddler first.
Yeah, I agree here. You might find Mortal Coil.
Just to get the information.
Yeah.
Power Overwhelming is a good one. I mean, that can help check the next threat that hits the board.
The next few big guys, because you know the big threats are coming now from Dragon Warrior.
Honestly, I think I'd rather see the Murloc Raider here than the Flame Imp. At the very least here, you're giving your opponent a better trade with the Ravaging Ghoul. And in this situation, now the Blackwing Corruptor has a better target. So I think the Murloc Raider is slightly better there.
Yeah, I like just running over the 1/1 here as well. Just keep trading off resources here. Keep your minions around. Your in-game is so much better.
Here we go. This is the turn for Dart.
Yep.
Darkshire Councilman. Murloc Raider. Trade. Go. And suddenly Battle Frog, I mean, he could potentially be behind here at this point. I mean, now Dart's rolling a life tap. He's got a second Councilman to back this up. It's rough.
Yeah. Where do you point this? Where do you point this Black Ring Corruptor?
Well, he's not playing it this turn, so he's want to restrict the board presence and hope to isolate that Councilman later on. So I like this line. I think this is
fine.
This is better from Battle Frog.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this gives him a better Corruptor next turn as well, and he can still fit a hero power in as well too.
Needs a 1-drop. Well, I think it might be Councilman trade over the Finley at this point. He's going for Ritual. Okay, so wants to hit that Sea Giant online next turn. And if you're in Dart's position, you have to wonder to yourself, is keeping my 1/1s alive or is pushing 7 damage worth more right now? I mean, this could potentially turn into a value battle at this stage.
It's hard to say no to 7 damage though. Ravaging Goal at the top would be pretty insane here. That card's not terrible either. Could be able to kind of hold this off just a little bit here. This is going to get max punished for Dart.
And this is definitely one of the reasons, I think, to consider the trade here. I mean, your opponent's got a Druid hero power. If you just throw caution in the wind every turn.
Yeah, I think it was like entering into Dart's mind. It's like, can I win if I miss out on 7 damage here?
Well, there's a Sea Giant. Is he going to ignore Execute as well? I mean, if you don't trade off that Finley, Execute is just live for free at this point. Pushes 2 damage. No Execute for Battle Frog just yet. So Sea Giant. I mean, I think I'm just dropping Big Papa Rag here.
Yeah, I'm killing these 2 1/1s and playing Ragnaros, and let's go. 50-50 to win the game on the spot.
Dart needs this to hit face so bad. Hits the Sea Giant instead. Battle Frog. There's a sigh of relief. Second Sea Giant, and I don't think it's going to be enough. He's got a taunt to hold this off. He's got gas to add behind it. He's got Ragnaros shooting away. He's pushing damage. Battle Frog, I think, has locked this game up.
Yeah. And I thought I had spoke too soon, but it seems like it's going to just work out.
Even takes out the Sea Giant. And there's no hope left for Dart. It's going to come down to game number 7 to find out who's going to be our last PAX Prime contestant here. Battle Frog has fought his way back, and it comes down to 1 game.
I think it's the only way it could have worked out, Nathan. We have to get to a 7th game.
And Yogg is present in Battle Frog's build.
Yeah. If it comes down to Yogg to win this, I mean, I don't think I could have scripted it better myself. This is the dream for me. Like you said, I even like the way Tempo Mage has been moving in the last few months in his matchup versus Zoo. You know, it used to be really bad, like you said. I mean, it used to be like one of your nightmares. Your spells were really inefficient and bad versus like Nerubian Egg and stuff like that. But your stuff's a lot better against them now. If you get a big Flame Work your turn, you could actually just end the game on the spot a lot of times. You can clear them relatively easy with just like a coin and a spell or 2 as well. So it's all coming down to this.
1 game, 1 man, 1 way, 1 desire. Can Yogg decide the 7th final game? Find out at the One Nation of Gamers Circuit 2016. Here we go! Battle Frog, a fairly weak opening hand. It's really heavy early. Dart's got some great curve going on. But every single burn spell he can check something with is going to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Arcane Blast great in this matchup. Frost Bolt's great in this matchup. Forbidden, even Torch gets the job done. But there's one of the problem cards in this matchup. Imp Boss does not get answered by 1 spell very easily.
Well,
I spoke too soon. The perfect draw.
Let's make magic.
It's definitely a good one.
Yeah, this is a big draw for Battle Frog here. Yeah, it leaves behind a 1/1. You don't care. This is what you needed. A much better board to be rolling into turn 4 for this Water Elemental.
Leroy gets picked up.
A big fan of Leroy deciding tournaments too, as well. Admirable.
Oh, it's gonna be trade for Dart. Rolling into that Forbidden Ritual next turn.
Yeah, it's gonna strand the Sea Giant into his hand a little bit, but he does have the Forbidden Ritual, like you mentioned.
Battle Frog. Still a real decision in front of him. Do you want a Water Elemental? Do you want a Frostbolt? He's going for the defensive plays. Dart's got to be a little bit scared of Arcane Missiles, but I don't know if he's got a way to really play around it. I think you just got to go.
Yeah, I think you just have to play it this way. And
Battle
this
Frog's
kind of
hand's
actually
weak to this.
Yeah, this actually plays really well against what Battle Frog had set up. He set up a torch plus hero power turn, and that's just not good on this board at all. Do you have to Arcane Intellect to find an Arcane Missiles or a Flame Strike? But no, I think he's going to get the high priority minion into play here.
This is going to be bad news for him.
Yeah. Here comes the Sea Giant.
And power overwhelming on the 1/1 to take out that Azure Drake. Battle Frog, you can see there's the nod. This is bad. Frostbolt's down. He doesn't have a fireball. There's no way to answer the Sea Giant. Leroy's in Dart's hand.
Yeah, there's also no Yogg in sight and no 10 mana in sight anytime soon. I think it's over.
I mean, what could Battle Frog draw to get through this?
Okay, so if he hits Arcane Missiles and Arcane Missiles hits perfect, he can remove 4 power from the board, plus another hero power, so he can remove 5 power from the board.
He's got to do something to try to stop the Sea Giant.
This is 14 damage. We'll say 14, 20, 22. That's lethal.
Well, is that with board space? 8, 9, 10,
yeah,
11,
we're just
12,
one short
13.
on board space. Yeah, he needed it to be power overwhelming. Yeah,
that's still going to do it, though. I mean, he's wiping out the board pressure here. I mean, Dart's got everything.
Get in there and fight, maggot!
Yeah, he's going to be able to take care of this entire board. Oh. Did Dart just push his... did Dart just punch his ticket to Pax Prime?
Boom! That guy's got a captain's wheel for a belt buckle. That's not someone I want to fight. I mean, this is it. He needs to draw like mirror images and mirror images in massive quantities right now. Flame Strike's no help. Hey, this is desperation time. He needs to literally draw 2 mirror images right here.
Arcane Missiles.
Whoa, hang on.
If it hits the 1/1 and the 2/1, it does. It goes perfect. Into mirror, there's a glimmer of hope here.
No, there's not. Crazed Alchemist. Crazed Alchemist!
8. Yep.
Kill one of the 0/2s. Attack the Imp Gang boss over. Sea Giant and Leroy. Dart has done it. He's going to win game number 7 and secure his ticket to PAX Prime and a $3,000 first prize. Leroy Jenkins. Dart makes it back to the major in spectacular fashion. What a tournament for this young man.
With the thumbs up. Yeah. With the thumbs up. Where's Nala? Where's the cat? I want to see him celebrate with the cat.
Screw the cat right now. Dart's the man of the hour for this one.
For
Battle
sure.
Frog, a long, hard-fought battle to come through this one. Had to win the tiebreaker match to make it into the feature. Gets to the final, down 3-1, pulls it back to game number 7. And a blowout, thanks to the Sea Giant and Forbidden Ritual. So, not going home empty-handed for Battle Frog. He does take home $1,500 for his weekend. So, still a solid showing from him. But Dart, this guy, it seems like when he creeps up in tournaments, he's always got strong performances.
Oh, yeah.
But not always finding himself there.
Yeah, definitely not. I'm sorry, yeah, definitely for today. You know, he ends up bringing it all home, punches his ticket into Seattle, gets to go to a tournament to play for $25,000, and you saw the emotion for him after the game. Too many times we see these guys win tournaments online, and they just have the poker face. You know, it's like, yeah, I won a tournament, no big deal. I've won one before. You know, and Dart just gets up, fist pumps, gives the double thumbs up, and gets excited. Love seeing it, Admirable.
Yeah, so if we have the brackets to take a look at, would be nice to see exactly Dart's road to get to this point. If we don't, apologies for that one, but does take down this tournament. And again, a big one, $3,000 first place, $1,500 for Battle Frog, everyone second, and then our VX14 Yotes Flow, each with $750 apiece. So the field is set. We round out the players who have already qualified in this one via their share of wins. Dog's in there, Shoop is in there. You know, we're looking at Eversiction, Frozen, Chalky, Phone Tap, and Dakota, and now Dart will round it out to compete for their share of $25,000 at PAX Prime. So I think that's just going to about wrap everything up for us. Circuit's coming to a close. We just have the major at this point. Tannen, do you have anything to say before we sign off?
Yeah. You know, big ups to Dart. Congratulations on winning, getting your ticket out to the major, like you said. And I'd like to say, a few other things about the other players here today. I'm super impressed by all of them, especially Battle Frog. I really like the changes that he made to his game style. Took his time, made good plays, really thought through his plays, and came up just one game short. Really good showing from this guy. I hope it's not the last we see of him.
Yeah. Definitely the sentiments agree. So before we sign off, we do want to take this time to thank the sponsors who have made this circuit possible. GEICO, the title sponsor for the Hearthstone circuit here in 2016, $60,000 in prizes being awarded. If you insure anything, and I mean anything at all, GEICO can save you some money on that. Head over to geico.onog.gg, get yourself a free quote, and see exactly how much you can save. While you're there, you can also enter to win a CyberPower Gamer Extreme 1000 PC. They're just giving it away. It's just free. You sign up for it, you might win and take home a new computer. Also, thanks to Video Game Voters Network, a grassroots network of gamers encouraging the esports community to get out there and vote in the 2016 election. They host a lot of contests and giveaways and stuff like that. So make sure you check out their website, videogamevoters.com, and to Razer. So that's going to wrap things up here for this weekend. We want to thank everyone who joined us for the entire time, and thanks to the competitors for putting on a good show for us today. And thanks to the production crew who has helped us run as smoothly as possible. So for everyone here at the One Nation of Gamers production, for myself and for the Tan and Grace, thank you all for watching, and have a good night.